We are the Romantics, and this is Filmmaking with Noobs. And welcome to the show. Aaron is going to start us off by talking about some Filmmaking with Noobs stuff.
What are you going to talk about, Aaron?
I'm going to talk about location scouting.
What do you gonna say about
location.
That was actually my next little line. So,
Oh, you just ruined it, Vincent.
God, man, I'm leaving.
God, you're constantly pulling the e-brake on me, dude.
Timing.
Better the e-brake than the p-brake. That's the most painful brake to pull.
Okay, so locations, yeah. When you have a budget and you have a limited amount of time and a ton of people to manage, all sorts of different jobs to take care of, Hollywood hires these location scouts to go out, find specific locations, help that fit the scripts or the director's vision. They also are responsible for like offering up new cool locations that might fit like that genre or that type of film or the look that they're going for. So a lot of these location companies, these scouts will have like binders with tons of photos that locations they've already found and fallen in love with.
That's got to be a stellar job, just to go around, just to travel around and just be like, hey, go to this really awesome place in the world. Hey, go to this really awesome place in the world again.
I found the coolest place I've ever been. Want to see it?
Yeah, seriously, yeah. And then they just go back.
I'm sure it's a lot of fun for whoever's at the top of that chain, but it also sounds like it's probably extremely stressful because along with finding the locations and getting the director to fall in love with it, or whoever is in charge of the look, you also have to manage the legal responsibility. So you have to get permission, you have to organize it, get it set up, you're in charge of facilitating that location shoot. So getting everybody there, making sure all the like security, food, whatever is taken care of. Like you're coordinating with all the different departments on that, and they're also in charge of cleaning up afterwards. It sounds like a crazy stressful 80-hour a week job. I was looking at some blogs online from professional scout or location scouts in Hollywood, and it sounds like most of them get started in photography and they kind of just fall in love with spaces and somehow get into that line of work, and it just kind of happens for them. But as far as like noobs making films or noobs making video projects, like we can't afford a location scout, but that's fine because it turns out that looking for locations and going out and scouting for places is probably my favorite part of doing all of this. For the season 1 of the Romantics that we did, didn't really have to mess with any of this because we did a little bit, but I mean, it's a show about private investigators in a neighborhood watching people, like take out trash. So it's really not much of an issue. But as I was going back and watching the episodes, I was getting really bored, and I was trying to figure out why, and realized that we're not filling the shots or the scenes with a lot of interesting looking stuff. So I would start trying to tailor scripts around going and finding cool places that I wanted to see on camera. And through doing that, I was finding myself really catering my scripts to fit in certain locations, and I kind of felt guilty about it at first just because, I don't know, I'm neurotic and terrified of everything. So, but going and looking at locations or going and finding these places that I want to fill the screen with is actually like the best tool I have in my toolbox for defeating writer's block. So anytime I'm feeling incredibly uninspired or just really down on myself, like maybe anytime I'm feeling like I should just quit what I'm doing and go work at a coffee shop again, I'll go take a drive and listen to some music and look for cool things or look for little locations that you typically overlook, and I think to myself, can I make a story around this? Would this be neat? Let's go drive around this and find different cool angles to like possibly set scenes in. So it's been a huge help.
You found your muse.
Yeah. So the Sunday drive, it turns out is my muse. I've always liked going for drives. That's what back in high school, my buddy Thomas and I would spend our Friday and Saturday nights, since we were both losers and didn't associate with people. We would drive around Plano, looking at his old neighborhood and talking about old stories, and then we would spend the rest of the night trying to get lost in the backwoods.
Yeah.
And he would drive, and I would tell him, turn right, turn left, and we just spend 3 hours getting lost.
Is that something that everybody does when they're a teenager?
I don't think everybody. I think a lot of teenagers.
Because I think that might be in the Bell blood.
I did it once accidentally on a date. And then,
yeah, right.
And then, no, I got lost, and it was incredibly embarrassing. And I was,
yeah, but the girl was like, "Yeah, right."
No,
but that's okay.
Yeah, no, we got lost for like an hour and a half, and it was awful.
I have a story about getting
so
lost.
bad.
I have a story about getting lost on a blacktop road. It's about a demon dog.
Oh, the demon dog story. Yes.
Yeah, me and a friend of mine, we had this. There was a town close to where I grew up named Bethany, and it was pretty much like 10 houses and just boonies everywhere. And so we were driving down this blacktop road doing what Aaron was talking about, getting lost in the woods, and it was always creepy. It's those old roads where the trees all grow over like this and the weird moonlight. It's creepy.
And somehow your line of sight is only like 50 feet in front of you.
No matter what you do, no matter if you have headlights or not, you're always afraid if you slow down below about 15 or 20 miles an hour, an axe murderer is going to kill you through the window. So we're driving along. We're fairly nervous, because it's just weird. We don't even know what road we're on. All of a sudden, a dog runs in front of the truck, and we hit it. It looked like, it was like German Shepherd shaped. It was fairly large. We hit a dog. We heard it go under the truck and hit the bottom of the truck, like under our feet, and it scared the crap out of us. He slammed on the brakes. We were driving an old pickup truck, like an old 78, 80, I think it was a Ford. I don't remember exactly. He slammed on the brakes, and we were like, what the heck? And I was like, I think you hit a dog. We turned around. We couldn't see it. He pulled up a little bit. We couldn't see it anywhere. He backed up. It was gone. So we just kept on driving. We're lost. We were talking about it. We're like, man, what happened to that dog? He's like, it must have died somewhere. So we're driving around. Dog in front of the car. Hit it again. No joke. Hit a dog again. Looked like the exact same dog. Hit the dog, turned around, couldn't find it, got scared, took off. Next thing we know, dog running behind the truck in the rearview mirror. You could see it in the taillights of the truck. I'm not kidding. They chasing
after you?
It was like it was one dog. It was chasing behind the truck. And I was like, speed up, dude, there's a dog chasing us. Like it could do anything to us in the truck anyway, but it was freaky. And then we sped up and we didn't see it again.
They probably were just like, kill me, please.
We never went back to that place ever again to drive down those blacktop roads because we were sure that dog was possessed by something.
For one little girl out there, this is the most depressing story ever. Her 3 favorite dogs that night were destroyed.
It was only 2. The other one scared us off.
The 3 the same litter.
We're sorry.
Oh.
So yeah, location scouting. You try to make sure there's no demon dogs.
Exactly.
Yeah. You want to be aware of the canine population. Be aware. But yeah, driving around has always been like a big boost to my imagination. I don't know why it relaxes me so much. And I typically don't like driving, but if I'm out driving for like no particular reason or just to kind of get lost somewhere, I have a whole lot of fun. It's probably the most cathartic, positive hobby that I have.
It's just modern day exploration.
Yeah. It's trying to see something that you typically don't get to see. Trying to just broaden expand the walls of your mind, your imagination,
of your pathetic little enclosed city environment.
I always see driving as like a form of shower, where it's like there's nothing really else to do. But just sit there and think. And it's like, you're in this enclosed area, you just turn off the radio or whatever, and then you sit there and you just think, and then you're just there with yourself. And it is super, super cathartic. You're just like,
yeah. You work through a lot of stuff. I do that with working out.
Yeah.
Showering is much cheaper.
That's true. That is true. Definitely true now.
That has been a huge bummer. Like when I started driving, what was gas? Like $1.15?
Maybe
$1.05?
Something like that.
No, it's $3.75.
$3.84 in Denton.
My first 16 gallons of gas were 96 cents.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I first started going and hanging out with people cruising around at night, I was like 14 the first time I ever did that. And we used to always go through. I was a passenger. We used to always go through like the cup holder in the car and get like enough money for gas for the whole night.
We got stuck in. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, Rob and I used to hang out with a guy named James, and he drove a 1986 Crown Victoria. He drove us everywhere. He was the only one with a reliable car.
Yeah.
We gave him $10 a week for gas.
Nice.
Dang.
I remember getting stuck in Sherman. I think it was with US. Was it the night that Adrian bumped his head? And
No.
Oh, yes. Okay.
It might have been
This
the other
was.
time when some people threw eggs at us.
That was all the same night.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was.
Oh,
man.
that was the worst night ever. Then.
Yeah, it was awful.
Holy crap.
Little Adrian fell off and
Cracked
fractured his skull.
Actually cracked his skull, yeah.
And he was getting woozy, so I ran to the gas station to get some.
We were
painkiller.
skateboarding
Yeah.
at a free park at night,
In Sherman,
late at
Texas.
nighttime in Sherman, Texas.
Yeah. So I got my pickup and ran and got some Advil from the gas station that was nearby, but I didn't have enough money, so I got on my hands and knees with a flashlight in my mouth and crawled through my nasty truck, pulling every penny I could find. I had to like rip up old carpet and grab pennies that were from like the former owner.
They had that stuff on them that feels almost like dried cough syrup that things in your floorboard
Yeah.
always get.
So I got enough to get a small little packet of whatever the painkiller was.
Some of them were in an eternal union.
Yeah.
It's like, how does this happen?
I know this looks like one, but you're gonna have to count it as two. Yeah, that was a crazy night. And when I got back, I found out that y'all had been egged from some punk ass teenagers.
You weren't there?
No,
Oh my! I always remembered it like you were there.
no, I got back and I was furious. I
That's
was like,
right, because
ready to kill somebody.
these guys, just a bunch of cruising teenagers, like pulled up in this car. There was like 8 of them in this car, and like 4 of them all jumped out with hands full of just raw eggs, like in the shell still, and just started hurling them at me and 2 little kids. These are my ex-wife's kids, so they were like 10 and no, they were
No,
like probably like
7 and-
8 or something like
yeah.
that, and 6 would have been how old they were, something like that. And they just started hurling eggs at us, and it pissed me off so bad. And I jumped up and took off at these guys. I was about to kill 8 people.
Yeah,
And I ran at these guys, and then I got like all the way up there, and they started to take off in the car, and I realized that I was leaving the 2 kids behind over here after having thrown eggs from hitting them in the face,
Did you Han Solo it?
I wish I had. And the whole time I was thinking, man, I wish Aaron was here. I do remember that now. Because if Aaron had been there, I could have just kept out and going after those guys. I probably would have jumped in my truck and chased them down.
I'm gonna go back to an earlier point in the story. You said they were throwing raw eggs at you still in the shell. Have you ever been? Has anybody ever tossed cook eggs at you? Like, have you ever had to like defend off eggs over
Aaron,
medium?
No,
coming
that's
in
not
at
what that
you?
means. It means sometimes people put them in a pitcher after they've shelled them, and then they just sling that.
What I meant was as opposed to hard boiled. I know there was no need to make that distinction, but
Hard-boiled egg would be at first like really upsetting to get hit with, but then you look down and it's like half peeled for you. And
you
you're like,
might eat
screw it.
I mean, you could eat it. It's cracked and everything.
I skipped breakfast this morning.
Aaron's kidding, but if I said that, I'd be serious.
Okay. So yeah, locations. Locations are fun.
Make sure there are no punk teenagers throwing eggs on any location you scout.
It's important, especially when you have no money. The biggest way you can boost your production values is to find cool and interesting things to fill your scenes with.
Like that giant rock and Skittles. I mean, no, not Skittles. Donuts.
Giant rock. Oh,
Giant
yeah.
rock with all those kids climbing on it.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. If you can find some free child actors to be in your movie that you don't have to pay or ever talk to again.
Man,
Can we get in trouble for that?
No. Those 2 girls
They
were
were like-
actually annoying me quite a bit.
On the swings?
The ones that
Oh.
were screaming bloody murder every 5 seconds.
Yeah, but
You asked them not to, and they were so nice about it.
Yeah, yeah. I was afraid to, though, because I don't like to get on to other people's children.
You never know how it's going to work out.
I
with the
know.
parents.
You never know if a parent's going to show up and like, I'm calling the police.
Well,
yeah.
as long as you get onto them physically and not
Wait.
or figuratively.
Wait.
Figuratively.
Hold on a second.
And not literally. Yeah. Okay, guys.
Whoops.
Okay. All right, Freud.
I was going to raise my cup and say to Freud. But you moved to it.
Okay, so we were talking. Yeah, so when it comes to playing scrolls, it's important with your energy decks to remember to splash in a little bit of order for some cheap enchantments. Wait,
Oh my gosh.
I'm sorry,
Is that out yet?
my mind slipped.
Yeah, we've been playing it.
Really?
Yeah,
Aaron's in love with it.
Blizzard Scrolls?
It's Mojang.
Oh, yeah, whatever.
Blizzards is
Yeah.
something else.
Yeah.
it's incredible.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's incredible.
Aaron's working his way up the
you
ladder.
Chrono Grim yet?
He's at 1200
No,
right now.
I don't play it yet.
Play what?
Console Grim. The new Neverwinter.
No, I haven't.
Like now that it's live, whatever. It's been live the entire time.
They took it off for like 6 hours last night, so I don't even know if it's back up again.
Oh, I've played it like for 30 minutes in the past week. So working sucks. I got a job recently, and so it's like I hate it.
So what are you
Actually,
doing?
no, it's not bad. I love my job.
What kind of job?
I can't figure it out. He sends me pictures all the time of different work outfits.
He doesn't want anybody to know
I
what
have
it
one
is.
work outfit. The
You're
other
not
ones
like-
are my play
you're not-
outfits, Aaron.
You're not spinning signs on a sidewalk.
No,
are
no,
you?
no, no.
Okay.
I'm doing security for a community pool,
Nice.
and
Sounds like an excellent job.
You are the perfect in for my next location. So
I don't think
need
that's
a
how that
pool.
works, Aaron.
only if you're part of the homeowners association for the place and you have a key and or a key card. I can't let you in otherwise.
it's not a key card. I know
you
it's
know what's
a code.
funny about
I'm-
homeowners association? Just kidding. I was just thinking about Beavis and Butthead Do America.
I know.
I'm a man of the law now. I can't.
A
just-
man
you're
of
a
the
man.
law.
I'm a bastion of justice.
Do you know what's more fun than being a man of the law?
Nothing.
Being in somebody's pocket, being a dirty cop.
I've heard that is fun.
There's a code.
So
I
you
know
get
you
caught.
Or being a tiny cop and being literally in somebody's pocket.
I don't know if that would be as fun.
That's awesome.
If it's a shirt pocket,
Dude, I want once
pretty fun.
once Edgar Wright's Ant-Man comes out, I hope it really opens the door for tiny people movies. I would love to see
I
a tiny
imagine-
cop.
No. Because there would be so many bad tiny people movies.
Just imagine.
He could be a tiny. Sorry, I got a tickle.
Dan's got to
He could-
tickle everyone.
He could be.
I thought you were about the farmer blow your nose. I was like, no.
He could be a tiny. He's a tiny thief because they said that they're gonna do Henry Pym and Scott Lang.
Just imagine if you're a tiny person, though, and you're in someone's pocket all the time, you've always got a giant nipple poking you in the ass.
No, because my pockets are up here.
My
nipple is-
pockets are close to my nipple.
My nipples are up here.
Think about it. If you're in somebody's pocket
I've
and
shown
you're
the nips.
tired of standing and your legs are tired, you just simply turn around and blow cool air. let it get a little erect, and you've got yourself a nice little seat.
Like, where's your nipple,
Sitting on
Aaron?
their
It's in your pocket,
nips.
right?
Yeah.
See? It's in the pocket.
Yeah, that would be a perfect chair.
Well,
for
maybe
him.
I'm wrong.
That's tiny cup.
Or you could, like, Captain Morgan.
Yeah,
on it
mine's
all
like
day long.
literally right in the middle of my pocket.
See?
Mine's right here.
Maybe
My
your
pocket's
nipples are in a weird place, Dan.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Dan has actually. He looks up. He has like little like dog and cat under nipples like, down his stomach.
Like, how
Why
has
would-
nobody ever told
dog
you that
nipples
that's
and cat
abnormal?
nipples are different, Vince.
Well, whatever. They're here. They're on their lower abdomen.
It's funny that you bring that up. I have a third nipple, so I'm
Because I
not
have-
really making fun of you.
because
But
I
you
have four
four
Because
nipples.
I have 4 nipples.
Yeah, and they do. Yeah, they are
Yeah.
lined up like that.
Yeah. It's just like 2, and then I have 2 little things right under them. 2 little nipples right under them.
You sure you don't have a fifth? Have you really looked?
It would be like Earth, Wind, Fire, Water, Love. What? And I'd go. And Captain Planet pops out of my chest.
It's
Oh my
hard.
gosh.
That's
I don't care. Love heart.
What's Captain Planet have to do with nipples?
I don't know.
5 of them. It's like I can like charge them up with the different elements.
It's the only thing in the world that comes in fives.
Oh, it is? Ah, okay.
That was the first thing of 5 that popped into my mind.
I was thinking like Cinco de Mayo.
You press a button, little man, like a little
Plays a
clock.
trumpet. I
Yeah,
don't
little,
know, drink
little
some
man from Juarez
cerveza.
comes out.
Tequila, Corona.
The stream of conscious comedy right here has got me so lost. I'm like drowning in the rivers of
Location
your jokes.
So what were we talking about? Oh, yeah.
of nipples.
I'm just about done.
On your body. In
Location
comparison of
scatty
like how
nipples.
easy they would be to sit on if you were tiny.
Oh, isn't it just like the premise of Stuart Little? If you were a rat instead of a man.
He's a mouse. Okay.
God, I'm gonna kill you.
Let's see it. Let's see it.
I just want to destroy you. I
I
want
want to show you?
to destroy you.
Oh.
I want to just show you
I wanna
the
just
end of your life.
Show you that I'm going to kill you.
Okay, so I'll wrap it up. Talking about location, yeah, it's a great way to not only make your scenes interesting because you don't always want to just be shooting against a white wall. I feel really bad because
Sorry.
Or sometimes.
go watch web series out there and you'll see what I'm talking about. It's people on their couch or sitting in their kitchen.
Yeah. Or like that one that we watched recently that I won't name.
No, yeah, don't.
I'm not going to name it, but it was like the scene. I'm just going to talk about one scene that was super boring, okay? It was at a doctor's office, and there was like a shot of the lady at the receptionist desk, and the shot was just like this super bright white square with a little slit and a lady's face in it. And it was the weirdest looking shot of all time.
I do see a lot of alleys where there's a guy here and a guy here, and they're talking to each other, and you just see them and then the brick behind them.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now I can.
But so you just see they just shoot them against literally a wall.
Yeah, and it's super boring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You absolutely have to be aware. It's always the silent character in your scenes.
Oddly, Samurai Jack is the environment is like the best character, but oddly that doesn't really apply because it's not live action.
It's still the same. Yeah.
In Spaced, they do that wall shot all the time, and it's always funny. Oh, am I thinking of Spaced or am I thinking Peep Show?
I think you're thinking of Peep Show.
Because Super Hands is always in some seedy alley somewhere. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I don't know why Peep Show gets away with it a little bit more. I guess it's because they have that camera angle.
Because it's POV, and they establish with every episode that life is boring.
Yeah, that doesn't mean that can't be used for something.
Right.
But for what we're doing, it really can't be.
You don't want to default to it. I think.
Yeah. And in our stuff too, we have to be a little careful because all of the shooting in the same vehicle crap that goes on.
Yeah, it can get really, really dull, really boring.
Yeah, redundant.
I was really excited with the first episode of this season. I was like, man, we're going to go to a diner. I really want to shoot in a diner. I've seen a lot of Tarantino movies. I want to incorporate food into these scenes. It's going to be awesome.
I was really hoping there would be a wallet with someone's nickname on it, though. But
So I get permission from this great woman to shoot in her great cafe, and I was too much of a wuss to actually use the location I was given, so we just shot it in the back corner, and it looks like I shot it in somebody's apartment
or bathroom.
We could have saved a lot of time and trouble just shooting it in somebody's apartment.
We could have just hung up a couple of picture frames on the wall in my house.
Exactly.
The next time, though, we'll take advantage of it being in a diner. We'll shoot it by a window or something.
And all those people there were super interested, too, and didn't seem bothered by it in the slightest.
I was going to talk about that, too.
And that guy upstairs had really good rhythm.
Oh, yeah. We had a guy pounding his feet on the floor above us in the balcony,
constant.
and I could hear it through the microphone.
The
it was
entire
super.
time.
He was old. He was probably just trying to keep his arteries from hardening.
I'm congealing.
Living in the times we do, everybody's a bit more used to being on camera, being on the internet, having their faces out there. So when they see somebody with a camera, they're not immediately like
turned off.
Put off. Yeah, it's kind of. Especially if you see somebody with like kind of a nice camera and like sound equipment and people doing a scene, it's interesting. It makes
it looks like a crew.
Yeah, people see this and all of a sudden their day is interesting. They have a story to tell people. So I need to stop being so nervous about trying to utilize these spaces.
Especially where we live.
Yeah, North Texas. Yeah, people around here I think really are receptive to
Probably
that.
If you went out to like the boondocks, it might be a little bit different, or it might be even better. Who knows? I don't know for sure.
Whatever.
But
I don't know.
It might be a little different. People might be like, "Get off my property."
That does bring me to my last point with the locations. Being in North Texas, like growing up here, it's pretty easy to get down on the area because it's it's flat everywhere, suburbs everywhere.
It does make it really easy to drive.
Yeah, so you can get where you want to go, but
cars.
It doesn't seem like the best environment to put as a backdrop for a project. But
yeah, that doesn't deal with that city at all.
Right. But having said that, forcing myself to think about locations and trying to make things look more interesting, I then force myself to go and look at the parts of this area that I typically wouldn't get to see, and I get to like appreciate it more. I get to look at like different types of architecture and from different like time, from like the 80s to the 90s, find stuff that I think is kind of cool that I haven't really seen before in other, video projects out there. And, it just makes me appreciate the area around here.
What I really want to do is ride the rail to Dallas to shoot a project and do the scene. We should do the Danny Boyle scene where we get to the city and it's like we've arrived and we've made it. And so that there's some kind of like underworld track or something in the background where it's like bum 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 bum, and then like shots of the skyline, like crazy POV shots of the skyline.
Big pans of like buildings and stuff, skyscrapers and everything, like the lookups of the
birds leaving courtyards, gleaming, glittering glass buildings, and people eating ice cream.
And then we pan down to the underground mall and the tunnels. Is that underground?
I heard they closed it
project.
off.
Oh, they did?
That that
I thought the stores were still
last
open.
I don't know, but last I heard,
The mayor's been trying to get it shut down, but I didn't know it actually happened.
Because in high school, my senior year of high school, like what I heard was that they were like really trying to push it through, like it was going to be closed down shortly. So then, a friend and I, we went to walk the entire underground maze of Dallas. Really cool, and I didn't know how extensive it really was. But
you know what I would like to shoot? Do you think we could find any like bottling companies anywhere where we can?
Was it the building
like
of
bottles
Americas
as they go by and on
there's
rollers?
a few spots. But
Damn it, man.
One of them is the Plaza of the Americas.
Plaza of the Americas.
Yeah.
Building of the Americas.
Is that interesting looking down there? I've always wanted to
It's
go.
cool. Yeah, it's just like
Plaza of the Americas is kind of cool.
Yeah, I used to eat lunch there a lot.
That's what you were talking about, Vincent, right?
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
It's neat. It's just like it feels like just like walking in a big hallway until you like emerge out, and then you're just like in a totally different part of the city and not really sure where you are, and then you go back in, it's just like a long hallway with and so it'll open up with like different shops and stuff. But.
When I was there, I mean, it would be like you're in a subway terminal or whatever, and then you'd come up, there's a random like T-bell like set in the wall, and then there's like an art gallery and nothing else, and it's just like you turn a corner in this kind of like dark, it does look like a narrow subway passage, and then you walk a little ways, and then you're in a parking garage, and then you exit the parking garage and there's nothing, and then there's a Swatch store.
Weird. That might be a little too hard to use.
There's all these
Yeah, it wasn't actually.
like if you look at it, or if you look for locations, I guess, like if you had somebody that had the time, there's so many like free sets out there that you can use that are really, really interesting.
All real action sequences take place in parking garages. That's how it is.
Actually, for this next episode that we're getting ready to shoot, I had to rewrite it many times, and I had whole sequences plotted out that took place on top of a parking garage, looking into a hotel. Hotel's like 10 stories tall. Parking garage is 4 or 5. And I thought it'd be really interesting to, do panning shots, getting a view of
That's
the
off of
city here.
It's the one with the Sheridan. I know like there's one of those in Dallas. That exact location.
Well, this one's in Allen, and so I was pumped. And then
This guy.
so I got in my car and I drove through the parking lot, got all the way to the top. I had my camera. I was gonna start taking pictures and getting my shot set up. And I get up there and realize that there's no cars parked anywhere. There's a security terminal with somebody in there manning it. I was like, what's going on? All the parking lots or all the parking spaces say reserved parking for someone, I don't know, people's names. And then I make a turn and I see a line of 15 cop cars lined up. I was like, oh, damn it. So I had to completely scratch that.
You're such a renegade.
No.
Renegade for life.
If I was a renegade, we'd be shooting there anyway.
So did you want to let people know about a blog post at all?
Oh yeah,
that's going to come up.
I'm going to do a little blog post about locations, and I'll post some pictures and kind of just talk about
So next week sometime.
my little trip. Yeah.
And of course, we'll tweet that out if you guys want to keep track of that stuff at The Romantics 1 on Twitter. So
Might be fun.
Like numero uno one. Not
Yeah.
like the romantics have won. We won the prize of being the most romantic. Chocolates and flowers and
yeah, let's move on to and talk a little bit about E3.
oh, E3 already?
Yeah, let's talk about E3.
So first of all, guys, what does E3 stand for?
Electronic Entertainment Expo.
Vincent's been doing homework.
No, dude, I love E3. Okay, E3 is like my blue ball Christmas. So it's basically like
Worst
look
Christmas.
look at all these wonderful things that are before me, and it's like look at all these wonderful things I
you
can't
can't touch.
afford.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
terrible.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, dude. Dude, this E3
What was your favorite
so
thing at
good.
E3?
All of it.
One favorite thing.
Well,
Vincent.
that's stupid.
One.
My days do that. Like after we would leave the movie. What's your favorite part of the movie? The whole movie. It's my favorite part
I'm
of the movie.
channeling your dad right now, Vincent.
Don't do that.
What's
Let's give him some things to be excited about. The drama with the Xbox.
Oh, okay. Oh, Xbox they reversed their entire DRM statute.
So, how do we feel about
So
that?
wait, just real quick, we talked a little bit about their DRM last week, or not last week. It was 2 weeks ago,
Just got released on Wednesday though.
and
so.
basically it sucked. And anybody that knows what we're talking about here is already familiar, but Xbox didn't want you to do anything. They just wanted you to basically get, it's like PC game licensure, but where you don't actually own the game, but they also want you to pay for a service to be able to play it.
Right.
Yeah.
And a bunch of other stupid stuff.
Which the server, I mean,
which it turned out,
which the live service isn't a bad service,
except that it turned out in like a lot of countries, people were not even going to be able to have
and now that
use it at all.
It was super landlocked.
It was only like 21 countries or something that it was even be available
North America,
to because
Europe,
of that.
Russia, Japan, and like I think like a few South American countries.
Name the rest. There's 17 more.
Well, Europe is like 12.
I'm just kidding.
So yeah,
there's like, so
I
there.
think the Xbox One has got to be the most unpatriotic system of all time. I mean, they don't want our soldiers overseas being able to play.
Oh yeah, that was a big complaint too, actually.
Aaron just blew up the Xbox One. If it wasn't already blown up.
Yeah.
Well, now that now the DRM thing has changed. Now it's just like the PS3.
I read a thing about in the UK that they had a law that actually made what Xbox was doing with their DRM illegal in that country. It has something to do with you're not allowed to sell some kind of a product or something with licensure that says you don't actually fully own the product or something weird like that. So they have some kind of law about that over there, and there was going to have to be some kind of court thing for people to be able to actually even own those, even in the UK.
Their cops being so silly looking makes it difficult for me to respect the English.
Yeah.
But they have a lot of good rules and regulations.
Some of them are, yeah.
You're not a fan of the Bobby?
I'm just joking. I don't
I put shrimp on it.
They have whistles. Shrimp on the Bobby.
I thought.
Oh man, Vincent's the master of terrible puns today.
Yeah.
Man, he's
of all days.
He's busting them out today, though.
So, what do we think about Xbox reversing all this DRM stuff? So, to clarify, what it was you had to have your Xbox connect to the internet at least once every 24 hours.
It was a 24-hour check.
To play anything, you had to be online. Mm-hmm. You did not actually own physical copies. They stated that if you did purchase a disc, all it would be for was basically to unlock the DRM on your console. You wouldn't be able to just give it to other people to play or borrow.
Well, I mean, which is the same thing Steam does. So it's not. So I wasn't
kind of,
super
except
put
the
off.
difference is that on Steam you can buy a lot of those games for $5.
Right. That was what I was just about to bring up. So like, it was like, oh, okay, that's what's happening, but whatever.
Yeah. With Steam, they're way more.
Yeah.
They want to make DRM in an appropriate fashion, and they give you sales all the time.
Yeah, and how many times have you bought a game and it's come with 3 other copies of the game?
Right.
Yeah.
So here's my question. Obviously, there were probably a lot of people who were like really excited about Xbox One. They were like, man, I can't wait for Xbox One. And then they heard about all this stuff, and there were people who were like, man, it sucks that Xbox One is going to have all these restrictions. I'm really not behind it. So do you think that most of those people saw the Sony presentation and were like, you know what, PlayStation's better, and they went with that? Or do you think that a lot of those people...
No, I saw the comparison stock prices.
So they were at that time, but do you think they won a lot of people back with the reversal?
They won enough people back.
Yeah,
that
they
it would
did.
be fun.
Yeah, I saw the stock, like the comparison stock prices. It was even like before the Xbox reveal, which was stupid. Anyways, the Xbox reveal, whatever, and then once it happens, Microsoft drops like 3 or 4 points. Sony raises by that much, and then it stays along those lines. And then once E3 hits, like it was the Microsoft. Actually, it was at the Sony conference, Sony press conference. It was just Microsoft just plummeted, and Sony just.
Well, what's extra exciting about that? And yes, exciting because I don't really appreciate a lot of what Microsoft does. Is that the manufacturers of these game consoles, they lose money on the console for the first 1.5 to 2 years.
Yep, they previously have. I don't know if they're going to this time.
Well, that's true,
We'll see.
actually. For
We'll
one
see.
thing, it's a lot more.
We don't know real stats yet, but
Yeah.
because last time PlayStation 3 came out, it was $600.
They've definitely...
Right.
That was like the thing that hurt them the most.
Nintendo lost money on the GameCube for the first year, and that was like the cheapest
Yeah, that was
system.
a norm for consoles.
They did exceptionally well. Their stockholders were extremely happy with the 1 year before they started turning a profit on the console itself.
Yeah.
But with as many first party game developers as Nintendo has, though, that it's less of an issue for them. And Microsoft is the same too. Well, yeah, but as far as like the Xbox One goes, I mean, Microsoft has a lot of that going for them as well. But with as many people as they had hating on that console.
Well, I was watching it live on Twitch, the E3 conference.
Yeah.
and there was 197,000 people in the chat channel.
Yeah.
And so when the
Are you
PS,
kidding?
no, I'm not kidding.
And that's on Twitch.
197.
Yeah, and there's
That was just
there's Twitch. There's IGN had a stream going.
I think there was
Game
some kind of a
Game
feed
Trailer
on.
had-
There was some kind of a feed on YouTube too.
Yeah. YouTube had a feed. Games Trailer had a feed.
Yeah.
Ars Technica had a live
Right.
blog going.
And then there's all the little independent magazines that were there that had their own things
Yeah,
going.
yeah.
So there was the amount of people watching this thing was huge.
All
On
eyes.
Twitch, where I could see the chat. This when Xbox did their thing, I watched that day of it. Or I watched that. The chat was like everybody was blowing up. Screw Xbox! I hate Xbox. I'll never purchase an Xbox. That was all you could see in the chat at 190,000 people. There wasn't one person that was like for the Xbox at that point. Then when PlayStation or
Except
when
all the text
Sony
was like.
that's
Yeah.
true. Yeah, but you can see it.
Yeah.
Because there's a little bit of a slowdown on there. Yeah, but so then when Sony announced the PS4 and they came out and they were just like one shot after another to Xbox, like on purpose in their presentation, man, people were going insane in that chat. I've never seen anything like it before on Twitch, even in like big LOL tournaments or anything.
I'm going to just chill thinking about the PS3 press conference was easily the best press conference
Four.
I've seen. Whatever. PS4 press conference was it was
No,
incredible.
he was talking about 2009 PlayStation 3.
Yeah.
I don't know what year that
2000,
7 years.
1991
No, 7 years
PlayStation
ago.
3.
Was it
So really 7 years?
Mm-hmm.
Has it only been 7 years? I thought it was 10.
I feel like it's been like 3, but
Yeah.
obviously that's not
I
true.
feel like
I
it's
thought
been
it's been
20.
7.
This is like the longest
I don't
console
think you're wrong.
run ever.
PS2 was longer than
I played
PS3.
5 games on my
Actually,
PS3.
there,
So.
FIFA 14 was it's going to be on the PS2.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, we
that's
still
the
have ours.
one game that's still developed for the PS2.
It's super popular.
But yeah. No,
So
but
PS4 conference.
I mean, it was awesome. The Ubisoft conference was all right. It had Aisha Taylor and she was super freaking annoying. And then
Every single conference that had a celebrity come out was super freaking annoying.
yeah, that's also
They really
90% of EA's.
They really need to just let those people talk the way they want to talk instead of making them do a script because they're terrible.
Which is
at
what
it.
Sony did. So like they had a script like when the CEO came out and when another guy came out, it was a
Yeah.
script. But when that bigger guy, the younger white guy came out, he was just like. He was talking about all the indie stuff that's going to be coming out, and which all of it looks awesome. He was just like, bah, 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 and he just looked comfortable and was just talking normally.
Right.
You know,
I am kind of glad that they do that celebrity thing though, because when I was at a conference, I shared an elevator with Tony Hawk. It was a really long
Oh, that's
ride,
awesome,
and we
yeah.
talked for a little while. It was pretty cool. It's a pretty cool
That
guy.
was pretty awesome.
But
I
apart
really
from
like
that,
Tony
yeah,
Hawk.
it's fairly annoying.
I really
well,
like Tony.
Tony Hawk actually had like a full,
I can't
like a
see-
big hand in the game though. All these
He
other
has
people
a-
have nothing.
Yeah, well, he's really involved with anything with his brand and his identity.
Oh, yeah.
Because he wants to be, in control of.
Which I
of
love
his
Tony Hawk games. I'll be on record
image.
saying
But
that.
one of my favorite games, and I played several of them on the consoles and stuff. One of my favorite games of all time. One of the things that I got the most enjoyment out of was Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 on the Game Boy Advance.
Oh yeah.
So badass.
Oh yeah.
On the Game Boy Advance.
Yeah, I had the wide one, and it was exceptional. And you could do so many things, and it was so hard, but it was so fun.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
We used to
I
have
didn't know.
Tony Hawk tournaments at my house basically.
Yeah, when I worked, Tony Hawk was amazing. I worked at Starbucks for a long time, and there were these two, these two guys that were back and forth, always talking big games like how he sucked. There's no way you could beat me. My score is this and that.
I got a 780,000 point combo.
Yeah, they were always
Beat that.
It was always Street Fighter 2 and Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2. And finally, one day, I'm just gonna say his name. I don't care. Romy told Lincoln, he's like, you know what? Romy told Lincoln, you know what? Let's settle this. Put your money where your mouth is. So Lincoln brought up all his
Don't do it,
consoles.
Lincoln. Money got germs. I stole that from one of those TGIF commercials. Or
really good.
sitcoms.
It's really good.
Yeah, thanks. Anyway, go on it. Sorry.
Yeah, so Romy brought up all his games. Lincoln brought up all his games and all his systems, and I thought it was so hilarious that I ran home after close and got my TV and brought it up. They gave me an extra 10-minute, or they gave me an extra lunch so I could run home and grab my television set. And so we closed. It's like 12 o'clock at night, and I'm super glad a cop didn't drive by because I'm walking through a parking lot with a TV into a dark building, and yeah, coming out was even weirder looking.
You might have touched your balls.
You might have touched your balls. It's a possibility.
I don't know how you don't get that reference, but
Yeah, the frisking. It was such a weird reference.
It's not that weird. The only time I've ever been stopped by a cop for something stupid, he touched my balls.
That's all. He just frisks your crotch.
That's
your
what
pant crotch.
That's what I felt like.
He's like, okay, you're fine. Let's move along.
I did feel violated.
So anyway, yeah, I set up the TV in the front part of of Starbucks, and for an hour and a half, they played every game they could think of to settle the score. It was hilarious. Like we moved everything out of the front area of Starbucks and set up all their consoles and the TV right there.
You didn't compete?
No, I thought it was freaking hilarious. I just wanted to see it.
So Romy won.
Everything, yeah.
Yeah,
there was
course.
there was no chance.
No, I know what kind of performance he's capable of because whenever he used to fill shifts at my GameStop, instead of working, he just played games on the consoles all day. He took out the promotional discs that we had in the systems, put in the games that he wanted to play in his hoodie, which he tucked his lanyard with his name tag into, and did this. And then I still beat his ass at Street Fighter 3. Boom.
When I watched him play Street Fighter 2, I was fairly impressed. I didn't know you could do combos in that game.
It doesn't give you like credit for them until
but he was
Super Street Fighter 2.
Right. He was juggling characters, and I was like, that's not. He's like, it looked like it was glitching.
Does he
I
play
I
with-
didn't even know you could do that.
Does he play with Fei Long? The little Chinese guy.
I actually think
my
yeah,
favorite.
Fei Long or
That's
Cammy.
actually who I played with.
Fei
Fei Long
Long
was awesome.
Fei Long, Cammy, and actually the new characters minus DJ are the only ones that get really amazing air juggles in that game. Wes disagrees. You a big Ken fan, Wes?
I actually played Ryu a lot
Oh yeah.
back in the day. I don't play fighting games that much anymore.
I'll do it as a quick
I haven't in a
stress
long
relief.
time.
They've got too much. There's like so much to them now. It takes a lot of time to sit down and learn it.
Street Fighter
What's hard
4
to
is not
find?
like that.
It's hard to find a lot of the really really cool ones too.
But there's a whole bunch of people on Twitch that are into that whole
It's a huge
fighting
community.
game thing. Yeah, they have tournaments on
Yeah.
Twitch all the time. So
Yeah,
E3.
dude. Okay.
Vince has got something.
E3.
I don't even know where to start. Okay,
He's
so
overloaded.
yeah, there's because I was looking through. I wrote down like all the games I'm excited for, and I realized the list is like 60 games, and so
60 games. We
Yeah.
got time for 2 of those.
But okay, the at least okay the PS4 exclusives. Transistor. Did anybody play Bastion?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Supergiant Games, they're making another game called Transistor, which I mean same team, same art style and stuff. And it looks freaking.
Does it look like the same type of game or is it different?
It's similar. It's
Yeah.
similar, but it's like it's basically it looks like everything is like a computer chip.
I'm one of
blah,
the
blah,
few
blah.
people on the planet, and I always get in trouble for this, that hated the narration.
Did you really?
I don't
Well,
get that.
yeah, I hate you for
It
that.
irritated me. It was just constant.
I loved it.
Blade Runner, theatrical version or director's cut? Go.
I don't remember the differences.
Narration. That's the difference.
I've seen them both.
Okay.
There's
I don't
like 5
remember.
or 6 different cuts of that movie.
Yeah, and I'm confused.
Well, there's 5, and then they released the what you call, not the rough cut, but what's it called? Work print.
What?
When it came out on Blu-ray, the work print.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and I've seen all 6.
Jeez Louise. Nice.
And they presented that work cut at E3.
Huh?
I just had a question about narration
Oh.
because apparently Wes
Oh.
has a beef with it.
Oh, I found
No,
out.
the narrator in that game specifically.
So Transistor.
Oh no, yeah,
It's
no,
about
not
radios.
about Transistor. But no, I found out I'm going to buy a Wii U now because they announced that Bayonetta 2 is going to be a Wii U exclusive.
Wow.
Oh, really?
And so, yeah.
Yeah, I
It's
know
like-
that you
seems like
loved
a
the
weird-
first one.
Oh, I love the first one. Was,
I can't
don't
buy a
don't
Wii
think-
U, man.
I don't think I had more fun playing a game than I did
Oh
with
my
Bayonetta.
goodness.
Now you're going to be playing it with a giant controller the size of a book.
Well, wait, so it's that, and then you have I looked at the new Mario 3DS. Not
It's terrible.
what Bayonetta.
Vincent loved it. A lot of people
Why was
love
so
it. It has a
terrible?
pretty
It
big
was
cult
just a
following.
freaking ton of fun. I will defend it to my death.
It's God of War-ish to me a little bit.
Well, yeah, it's
giant
an
bosses that
action
you climb
hack and
on
slash.
and stuff like that.
But with little flashy light challenges where you go for half an hour.
I didn't play it. I watched it played on Twitch.
The actual like gameplay parts are okay, but that it's like constantly being interrupted.
Well, I mean, I think the game got like a 7-something average
I thought it
score.
was better than that.
Ugh.
Maybe.
I had so
which is
much fun
fair.
with it.
Which is that's an average decent game. So enough people liked it. It's not my type of game at all.
I played the demo and I was like, this is awesome. And then I bought the game and I was like, this is not appropriate for this conversation.
Oh, did you Watch Dogs?
Watch Dogs.
Watch
Is that going to be on
Dogs.
PS3 as well?
Yeah, I believe it's multi-platform.
Now that's a binocular simulator where you would literally
Yeah,
observe
they
canines.
Right. They take the canines that they're super excited to put in Call of Duty, and they strap a binoculars to them and little little screens to them and everything.
Oh, so
and
the
they just
dogs do the
send them out.
watching.
Right. And
Okay.
and they're integrating it back into the old DS game Dogs, where you play as
Nintendo.
I was gonna say I
Yeah,
thought it was a
Nintendo
sequel to
Dogs.
Nintendo.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
That sounds amazing.
You
Right.
can't pet.
So not only is it cross-platform, it's inter-platform. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a first. This is an industry first.
Yeah.
Watch Dogs. So if it's coming out on, what I mean is it coming out on PS3 and PS4?
Yeah, that's all.
I thought it was PS3 only.
Be-
It might just be
because
a
if it's
PS4.
coming out on both, I'm going to end up having to play it on PS3.
Oh wait. It might actually. Yeah, it might be both because I thought it was supposed to be a release day, like a PS4 release
Yeah,
day.
I think.
If
I
it's
think it is
PS4 release day,
multi-platform.
I'll play it on PS4.
I
I actually,
think that's
I
right.
reserved my PlayStation 4 10 minutes after they announced
Did
it.
you really?
Yeah, and the next day they were all gone.
Yeah.
So if you reserve it now, it's a first come first serve. You'll get it when we get them.
I've
Kind
also
of thing.
heard.
But Amazon sent me an email that said we want to inform you that you actually reserved the launch copy. You will receive it at your doorstep on launch day.
That's cool.
And I'm like, yeah. And I also reserved Thief and Destiny.
Yeah, I was just about to say Thief 2.
Is Destiny a release day?
I don't know. I just reserved it.
I
Just
don't know
in
how
case.
I don't know how I feel about
I
Destiny.
don't think it is.
It looks cool, but
Do you dislike it because you're a Halo fan?
no, I am a huge Halo fan. I love.
Why
and
would
I'm,
he dislike it if he's a Halo fan?
Because I
Well-
think he thought it was like a reskin Halo type thing.
I mean, that's what I thought at first, but then I watched like the however many like the
You thought it, and then you said it.
yeah I know right. Well, I, mean,
usually say things
That's usually the
before I think
process
it.
of how it happened.
That's how words happen.
Yeah,
Words with Vincent. Once again,
I'm learning.
we're all learning.
No, I mean they play like 10 minutes of it at the Microsoft, and so
Yeah,
I mean it looked fine, but
at the Microsoft.
at the Microsoft, and it looks
love that
it looks
place.
fun. But I'm
Delicious.
just not as excited as I am for like The Division and Battlefront 4 and
Oh,
a bunch
yeah,
of other
yeah, yeah.
shooters that I really
The
wanna do.
Division is the one we were talking about, right?
Yeah, it looks really neat. It
The
looks really
MMO slash
Yeah, like the,
sectioned off kind of MMO shooter thing. That looks amazingly cool to me.
Yeah.
If that works out the way that they are displaying it to work out,
see what
I'll
I
play the
like
heck out
and
of
what I've seen they're doing it in the Division, they're doing it in Battlefield, and I think they did it in like Ghost Recon. I don't remember, but they're using a tablet integration.
right.
Yeah, and so
That's the new big thing for
which I
everything.
think I think it's cool.
I don't mind it. It doesn't bother me.
Yeah,
I
it
see
looked
I see like a million people with like crappy tablets trying to use that and not being able to do anything. But
I will take the iPad into the bathtub, and I can imagine that being cool. But if I'm like connected to other people, I'm always afraid that I'm accidentally going to snap a little dick pic or something and send it out. So instead of
with
dropping
that rear facing camera,
instead of dropping bombs, it's just a bunch of little thumbnails of my waterlogged.
it's like the old
wiener.
decals and like in the old first person shooters, the old decals you
Yeah.
can throw on the wall everywhere.
I
There's
go,
a dude's dick on this wall.
those are
I'm like,
balls.
there's
Those
a-
are balls.
I go to give a command, and all of a sudden a spray painted wiener comes up on the screen. I just start
Oh,
laughing.
my
Oh my gosh, that wiener's so little. I can't believe somebody made that as a spray paint. That's my wiener. What the hell?
That's my wiener.
I know that wiener. I feel connected to that.
I just start
familiar.
dunking the iPad in the water, trying to wash it
It's
out.
already been sent.
I should be disgusted right now, but I'm not.
Oh man! Oh, the possibilities of new wave, new edge games. New wave, new edge.
Bossa Nova.
What are these things?
I don't think any of those terms are.
I think
what you're looking for.
maybe
New edge.
Maybe sound like I'm 60 years old or something. All this new wave technology.
Rap kids.
I am really
Ratchet.
excited.
They all have Depeche Mode soundtrack. Flock of Seagulls.
Were you the one that's not a Depeche Mode fan? You said that you call them Depeche Commode.
I don't call them Depeche Commode. I actually, that's terrible. That's a terrible joke, and I would never make that joke.
But I thought it was either somebody you knew, the guy that ran the comic book store.
guy that ran the?
Yeah, the Kaboom.
I think you're confusing. I'm not a huge fan, but I like them. They have an interesting sound. Dave Gahan's voice gets on my nerves, but no, that guy was Stefan. He's a huge fan.
Oh,
Like a huge fan. Maybe
Sorry.
Rob told you a story about another guy because
Yeah.
there was another guy that came in who looked exactly like Jay from Clerks and from Jay and Silent and from everything. Sorry, I'm old. I'm really old. But who like wore a trench coat. He was a Counter-Strike kid who came in and they would just argue about
CK.
music all the time.
yeah. Every time I hear Depeche Mode, I think I really like this band. I feel kind of bad because somebody out there called them Depeche Mode. Why do I care?
Yeah, I like them. I think they definitely have some stuff that I will skip, but I mean, so do some of my favorite bands.
Let's go down a list, not to derail here about Depeche Mode, but let's go down a list real quick of just E3 stuff.
Can I throw in something really quick? It's
Yes.
relevant. It's
Go.
relevant in a roundabout way.
Go.
E3 is full of new things, and that reminds me of the new movie with Matt Damon that's coming out called Elysium.
Oh,
the
yeah.
The Pet Shop Boys had an album come out last year, also called Elysium, and I listened to it for the first time yesterday in the car. And it was awesome.
What's
Really?
it? Cool.
Yeah, it's really awesome. Go on.
Excellent.
Elysium looks awesome.
So I'm going to do a little rundown here just of the two consoles and kind of what we know so far. Some of the stuff is rumory stuff. We don't 100% know, but some of this information has been gained from developers that are developing for these consoles. So the comparison here, the PS4, $399, $100 less than the Xbox, right?
Yeah.
The PS4 does not require any kind of a subscription. It does require $5 a month to play online games.
I do have a question.
Yeah.
Is the PS4? Are there different like tiers of that, or it's just
No, it's
you buy
releasing one system.
you buy a console?
Yeah, and you do not have to buy a camera with it. The Xbox One is required to have the Kinect.
The integrated Kinect.
Right. So,
But the PlayStation Network is going to be 50, 40.
a year.
Yeah, well, I mean, the Xbox Live is 50 a year. Or it's 50, 60, or 40, 50. I don't remember
Right.
which one.
Yeah. Now they're fairly close, but the difference is with PlayStation 4 with their PSN, you automatically get a gigantic library of free
Oh, yeah.
games.
Yeah.
And there's some. What's the
Really?
You get Don't Starve, you get Oddworld, you
Don't
get
Starve.
Transistor, you get
for free.
You get Transistor for free.
I think that that was one of the ones they showed, and I think that was.
I
in
think that I saw
package.
recently on Reddit somebody said Terraria is going to be on there on PSN,
Oh,
which
really?
is side-scrolling Minecraft.
Yeah.
That's pretty
Dude,
cool.
I cannot imagine playing that with a freaking controller.
Might be easy.
I just realized that if you buy
no
one of
way,
these, I don't
man.
have to.
Because you just push buttons to swing your weapons instead of having to click on stuff. Might be better. It might be better. Because remember, clicking the little blocks is kind of annoying.
It is, but it's required. I mean, it's
Not really, because if you had a weapon, it would just hit a certain distance away and you just push a button to do it. It's a side-scrolling platformer.
Let's get through the list
you
because
also-
I have more
yeah.
questions.
You also
We
get
do need to.
You also get Raise the Dead and Octodad as well.
And that's not counting. They on PlayStation Network now. I have somebody gifted me a copy of it for a year.
Yeah.
And
They just throw
They
crap
give-
at you all the time.
they give you free stuff like every couple of months. New games come out. I mean, you can play Little Big Planet for free on the PlayStation Network if you have it. If you subscribe to it,
No, that's
which
cool.
is a huge
Which
game.
there's Spark that's coming out soon.
Oh, yes,
for 360,
yeah.
and that I'm super excited about that.
Yeah.
That's basically like the Little Big Planet for 360, almost.
Right.
Or
Okay.
for the Xbox One.
So
I got Infamous for free. It was awesome.
here's
Yeah,
the
Infamous coming out too.
here's the list of comparison here. So $399 versus $500. There's no DRM on the PS4 at all. We're not really 100% sure how it's going to work out on Xbox because they did give us the caveat of now this is going to change some of our features. Having said now that we're going back on this, and we don't know how that's going to affect things yet. So a lot of people are joking around and saying, you buy the Xbox thinking no DRM. 3 months later, like, well, we got to have DRM, and they add it
They
back.
patch it in.
Well,
yeah.
a lot
Yeah.
of the DRM is going to be like developer.
Right.
pushed.
Which it could still be. They could just change it to where it's imposed by the developers and not them.
Right, so like how
And it'll be
Ubisoft,
exactly the
like
same.
Ubisoft had a big DRM thing recently.
Yes.
The 360 didn't
Yeah.
have DRM specifically, but I mean Ubisoft did.
Yeah. So,
So-
all right. So the PlayStation 4 is slightly better hardware. It's an 8-core Jaguar AMD CPU for the nerds out there that like computer parts like me.
Man, Atari Jaguar.
Yeah. Yeah. It's got an Atari Jaguar in it.
It's good.
It runs all its games
That is awesome.
for it.
Yeah, the PS3 is going to have better, like it on paper it looks better.
8
Yeah.
bits,
but-
So
8 bits, 16 bits.
So 8-core Jaguar AMD CPU in both systems. They're both on the same die, so they're very similar. There's a little more information about the Xbox One. It's 64-bit x86 Jaguar 1.6 gigahertz. The GPU, though, on the PlayStation 4 is a 7870, which is way better than the 7790 that's
It's like
on the
what,
Xbox.
1100, whatever I can't remember what the number for.
Doodads, clock core.
Yeah, cores, and then the Xbox has like 700 and something.
Well, basically the difference is the 7870 is still a current card that can play games, all games on a PC, and the 7790 on the Xbox One is a $100 card. So it's old school already, which is terrible. The difference is the
PlayStation is going to have a much louder fan.
and more heat. So the PlayStation 4 has 8 gigabytes of GDDR5 RAM, which is about the fastest RAM we use right now.
GDDR is my favorite dancing game. I'm sold.
Compared to the Xbox's 8 gigabytes of DDR3 RAM. So the bandwidth speed of the GDDR5 is almost double what it is for the DDR3. The difference in the two systems is, though, the Xbox One supposedly is going to have 32 megabytes of dedicated RAM on the graphics card, while the PS4 graphics system shares the 8 gigabytes of faster RAM. What has been speculated at, though, is that more complex architecture is going to make the Xbox One a lot harder to code for than the PlayStation 4. So they're expecting graphics to be similar, with PlayStation 4 having a slight edge.
I wonder if that's why they have so fewer games released for the Xbox One than PS3.
Maybe so. It might be taking them longer. Plus, from what I understand, Microsoft's development program thing, where you have to get all your crap verified, is a freaking nightmare for developers. So
I've heard that on the indie scale. I don't know how it is for AAA. But
I don't know either. But so one of the other positives for the PlayStation 4, lots of people that have messed with it at E3 and different places said that the controller is freaking amazing. Well, it's like the best controller they've ever held for anything.
So they went back to the boomerang?
It's the same controller basically, except it's got a touchpad in the middle, and they've readjusted.
It's twice as heavy.
It's thicker. It's heavier. They've sort of adjusted the shape of things a little bit. They made the triggers.
See, that was my huge thing about the like all the PlayStation. I hate the controllers.
I actually like them better.
I love
than
them.
Xbox.
Yeah, it's so superior.
I like both of them about the same, but the PS2 controller was a more solid controller than the PS3. Like, I barely dropped the PS3, completely screwed it up. Had to take the whole thing apart and
Well, I don't know if anybody knows the durability of these yet, but the feel and when they were using them, they say it's freaking amazing. One thing I read, I can't remember. I don't want to lie here, but I'll just say as a speculation. I think that I read that the Xbox controller sticks are going to have potentiometers on them, and the PS4s do not. Potentiometers just mean they can be a lot more smooth and accurate, meaning they have like a resistance to them a little bit that's controlled by a potentiometer that's in there.
I heard, I could be wrong about this, but I heard that there's going to be force feedback in the
trigger.
in the triggers. On the Xbox
probably.
One.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's what I was just about to like. That's what I couldn't think of the term, but yeah, that's what I've heard that too.
So in essence,
individual contact points.
Force feedback.
Weird.
Yeah. So in essence, the PS4 has really fast shared RAM.
Isn't that the way that they do it previously? Is like a little weight that spins around. So how's
That's
that
the
work
axis. That's the dual axis thing.
I don't know how the force feedback's going to work in the triggers.
Force feedback is like if you push a button like the X button, the harder you push it, it can do more than. I mean, it can sense the hardness that you push.
No,
it.
force feedback is vibrating.
Yeah, the vibrating.
Oh,
yeah.
I don't care
And
if the buttons.
the way it works is it's got a little
a little thing that
spins around.
Yeah,
and makes it shake.
I don't know how they're going to do that with the triggers. But
what's the point of that?
It's for the shooters. It's for like the Call of Duty freaks.
Yeah,
it
feels.
would be kinda
That's
neat.
just to add resistance to it then.
It's for that, just to kind of make it like the shooting
That's weird.
experience.
It's like
Like
every
you're
time you
actually
pull it,
shooting
it
a gun.
jerks.
Hey, I'm in your team. I like it.
I usually turn that off when I'm playing a shooter or something anyway. It's distracting.
I kind of like it.
All right, so moving on down the list here, we've got big games, Titanfall.
Oh yeah.
Titanfall.
Oh my
Multiplayer
God,
only,
looks
though.
so good.
I think
Yeah.
you just killed Vincent.
Oh my
Well,
God.
it looks
I'm
amazing.
I'm
Aaron and I
so
were
excited
huge
for
fans
it.
of Battlefield
2042.
2042.
Yeah.
2142. We were huge fans of that. They screwed the game up. It could have been so awesome. It
Wow,
I
wasn't.
still had a lot of fun with it.
We loved the slightly futuristic thing and the big.
It was
mechs.
awesome hiding behind little like knee-high walls with a
A
mech,
mech turning around, in
like
front of-
trying to find you, and you're
Yes.
just like,
and then you get
shuffling
underneath them and like run around trying not to get shot by them, and eventually they step on you or something. But
yeah.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
See,
So,
I've been all kind of indifferent toward mechs. I remember playing Mech Warrior 2 and stuff, and that was fine. But then I played Hawken.
yeah,
Was that,
I played that.
and it was playing that. I was like,
It's pretty fun. It's
you
pretty
know.
fun.
And so then seeing how they how they did it in Titanfall, it just looks so.
It looks
smooth,
really cool.
so
It
good.
looks
I'm
really
not
cool.
interested in mechs unless you have that scale difference where you do get to see the little, like, the mechs actually feel
Right.
big and important. If you're just
They are
fighting,
bigger.
if you're just
Yeah.
fighting other mechs, you've got no sense of scale.
No, it's both, and
You're just like a robot.
I think it's like a class. I mean, I think the mech will be a class of some kind, right?
Well, no. So what it is, like, you can call down a mech. Like,
Right.
I think what it looked like, it was like after you do so well, you can call
So
down
it's a
mech.
supply thing.
Yeah, you call down a mech and it's like prepare for Titanfall.
I'll never get to pilot a mech in that game then.
Sure, you will, dude.
But it's like you just like go up
Get
to
more
like run
deaths
into
than
whatever
kills.
and like you
Go
press the
ahead,
button to
Dacon.
whatever and it picks you up, puts you in his chest, and it's like
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
like
it
3
looks
seconds,
awesome.
and you just pop in and you're like
Yeah. So we're excited about that. And then we already talked about Watch Dogs, Mad Max. Aaron and I were talking about that beforehand. It might just be a cash grab from a new movie.
yeah. I mean, at first I thought it was gonna be a new Fallout, but then,
That's what everybody said. Everybody's like, it's Fallout
That's what it
4.
loo- I mean, that's
and
what
I
it
was like,
looked like.
no. It's got a souped up car. It's Mad Max.
but I was like, I don't know if Bethesda has that much resources doing that alongside with ESO. So
Yeah, I don't know.
ES puberty.
Everybody is freaking out about when are they going to announce Fallout 4?
I do want
But-
to point out that the Mad Max mission in Borderlands is awesome.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite parts.
The first one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where you're
So-
in the little arena.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
that's
yeah.
really cool.
It does feel really epic.
We got Destiny. We already talked about it a little bit. Battlefield 4.
Battlefield 4. I watched like 30 minutes of that yesterday. Oh my god.
Yeah, I am pumped for it. I know that the little multiplayer thing they did for E3 was probably scripted. It had to have been scripted.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Oh, it definitely
But-
was. Definitely was.
It doesn't matter. I was watching it just like trying not to smile. It was so neat seeing that skyscraper come down.
I'm just glad they brought back fully destructible environments.
Yeah, what the heck? Why did they even take that out of 3? I mean, they already had it in freaking Bad Company.
Bad
Why
Company
remove
2
it?
is a better game than Battlefield
Yeah, we
3.
played Bad Company 2 like crazy. Yeah. Played a ton of it.
What was that game? I think it was actually Wes that sent me a video of it like a year ago. It's like a sci-fi shooter. Firefall.
Sucks.
Yeah.
It
I don't
sucks.
like it.
Never came out.
It's out. I mean,
We
it's,
played
you can play it. It's beta.
There
Forever.
were pieces of it that were really neat.
Should I stick with Crimson Blade?
I wouldn't play Firefall unless they do some major stuff to it. Which
Well-
it turned into like a almost like a free to play model where you just grind stuff all the time, and it's kind of, I don't know, it's boring.
It was for playing for 2 hours for an afternoon because it's free. It was fun.
Yeah, and I mean all that stuff that was in that video that we sent you never made it into the game. None of that stuff is in the game in that way at all. It's totally different than that now.
That's a
Weird.
shame.
Yeah, so going down the rest of this list here, a couple more games. Dragon Age 3, I got kind of excited because I was thinking Dragon Age Origins, like they would learn their lesson after Dragon Age 2, which was like a third-person action game.
I've heard it's like a mix between both.
Yeah.
That's what Aaron said. I watched a video. That's kind of what it looks like.
And it had Morgan in there, so I was
so
like,
now
Morgan's a babe.
so now I don't
I'll
care.
probably play it.
I don't want to play action-based Dragon Age. Okay, so Dark Souls 2.
Yeah.
Everybody's excited about that. Did you ever play Dark Souls?
I watched my friend, my roommate, rage at Dark Souls.
Demon Souls?
Demon Souls is so awesome.
Yeah.
My
I don't know why I haven't finished them.
I think-
because they are
Because they're
amazing.
They're daunting.
Demon Souls
They're hard, yeah.
is my favorite game of the current generation of games.
Really? It's very weird and good.
It's freaking badass.
The weirdness is my favorite
Yeah,
part.
that's the best thing about that game is the really disconnected story where you don't know what the heck is going on half the time and all the weird little tidbits you get. Like the
Yeah.
first time in Demon Souls,
Those gross babies.
yeah, the first time in Demon Souls that I went up to the top of that thing and
Belly buttons.
oh, that's disgusting. When I went up to the top and saw those little monk kids or whatever they are in the top of that
yeah.
place, and you hear the little story from the one little, they're all sitting with the candles and they're all dead. And there's only like, the first time I saw that, I was like, what's going on in this world? It's so epic.
I need to go back and get an original Xbox and buy Otogi because when I originally played it, I played it when it first came out. And I just because we could check games out
Right.
when I worked for GameStop, and I was like, this game's pretty cool, but it's pretty hard.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna play it. And then whatever, 6 years hence or
Yeah.
8 years or however long it's been, Like that's what I look for.
Yeah.
Now, and so Demon Souls was totally satisfying. It's made by the same team.
Yeah.
Right.
Before you say what other games they make, I would just want to say my favorite part. When I first saw the screenshots for the game and was hearing about it, I was like, this seems kind of familiar. I don't know why. And then I saw somebody on maybe Twitch or YouTube play it, and I thought, this makes me feel like King's Quest. Not King's Quest, Kingsfield.
Yeah,
this feels like a
Kingsfield.
Kingsfield game.
Yeah.
Kingsfield was my favorite PlayStation game. It was the first game I ever played on the PlayStation.
It was so freaking hard at the
There's
time.
there's a sword. It's like the moon sword or something that
Yeah.
has like a crystal blue blade that's in every single one of their games.
Right.
It's a weapon you can get in all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was going to say, Kingsfield, turns out the same guys that made...
Yeah,
Demon's
Kingsfield
Souls.
was like
like a spiritual
pure
sequel.
FPS style.
Yeah, and I don't know what it is about their art direction or style that made me feel like those two games are similar, because they don't look anything alike.
I just remember playing Kingsfield and never accomplishing anything because I was so confused all the time.
Yeah, there's no like direction anywhere. You can go whatever in any direction you want,
And that was abnormal back then.
yeah. So I spent forever just like in the very first area figuring out where I should go. I didn't even know that there was an invisible bridge that went to a lighthouse with an item that you need right off the bat.
Right.
I went back and watched a playthrough. Turns out I
It's
was
very
an idiot.
interesting. If you haven't seen it, look it up on YouTube. It's very cool.
There's got to be an invisible bridge.
So isn't it weird, like talking about that, isn't it weird how you evolve as a video gamer? Like when I was a kid, I specifically liked certain things, and even 3 years ago, 5 years ago, and every single year it's like my tastes change or evolve in some way.
I don't know. I still like things where you level up frequently, and there's always like
Right.
a big, exciting level up event, and I'm like, I'm better now.
Yeah, that's my main. I like RPG aspects and everything.
Yeah, you're an item guy. You like the
I
items.
love items. I love lots and lots of items.
Hot items.
All the items.
Dude, that reminds me of another game I saw coming out. It's called Mighty Quest: the Search for Mad Loot,
Oh.
and it's you design castles
Yeah.
and dungeons and stuff, and then you just have like your friends and try to
Oh yeah.
beat like this run like you have a hero.
There's a
that's
few
on
of those
plays.
types of games that have
Yeah,
gotten kind
it
of
looks
popular
so
lately.
much fun.
Yeah.
Like you just
Mighty Quest.
Yeah, Mighty Quest Search for Mad Loot. It's like you just design this big castle, like all these different options stuff, like the enemies and like when they aggro and blah blah blah, all this other stuff. And then you just like send it to one of your friends, and then they have their hero and they try to just beat it and just back and forth like that
Yeah.
with a bunch,
That sounds really
online
neat.
and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So also on the list, Mirror's Edge 2. Did you play Mirror's Edge?
Oh yeah.
I have never
dude.
played it. Aaron played it.
I played the demo.
You can borrow. I have it. You can borrow it.
I have it on Steam. I got it on. I got it for like $3 on a sale or something. But thanks.
Now, see, like games like that, I don't like playing on PC.
Yeah.
I'd much rather play.
It makes
on a
sense that
console.
would be more fun on a console.
Yeah. Or
I
at least
thought the
with a
controls
controller.
I thought the controls were fine.
Of course, you can plug a
Plus,
controller in.
I
your
played that
PC.
game for like
Yeah,
20
I know.
minutes. I got to a jump I couldn't do, and I never played again.
Really? Did you like what you were playing until you?
It was a cool experience, but I didn't feel like it was a
That's
fun
what I.
game.
That's what I always thought of it. Like it looks like it's an experience, and people like freaked out about it, about the experience of that new type of whatever it was.
But I almost felt like it would have been. I felt like it would have been a lot more fun if it were like that one Bethesda game where you just push the do button and it just does like whatever crazy roll or trick jump or whatever. Because the actual performing those stunts or whatever was not fun to me.
Yeah.
The seeing all the crazy stuff happen on my TV, like from first person, and feeling
Right.
like I was actually like running across this narrow plank between
Yeah,
buildings. or
that
whatever,
part was cool.
That was cool.
Yeah.
But the
Yeah.
gameplay was not fun.
So
to me.
people are freaking out over Mirror's Edge 2. It's
I'm really
gained
excited
it's gained
for
a
it.
pretty big cult following
Turns
after
out
it
it's a
came out.
prequel, though.
Yeah. So Star Wars Battlefront. See, that's the way
told
everyone
you,
else is
dude.
reacting too.
This E3 was just
Yeah.
blowing my mind and my nuts, dude.
Didn't you
It's-
say something, Aaron,
And
about
my
like
nuts.
all these new games look so awesome compared to like
I did think this was the most exciting E3 that I've
They,
ever.
they showed Battlefield.
Wow.
They showed Battlefront for like I think it was like 20 seconds. It was
Yeah.
like it was snow. It was a Hawthorne, some snow planet, and then like a ATH like a walker, just like a foot come down and just
Yeah.
Battlefront. Remember, just
everybody.
just go nuts.
I think
People have been asking for Battlefront for years. I mean,
Yeah.
almost immediately after 2 came out.
It's so weird after the whole SimCity debacle when that last EA president stepped down, a new one comes up and it's just like one after another, just like good stuff EA is doing.
That was
And-
Vincent having a heart attack.
Yeah,
at the table.
and this, I mean, with Battlefront, I can't even handle it, dude.
I can't wait to play it because I never got in on the previous Battlefront hype.
Oh, man.
Because the time in my life I couldn't afford games or anything really, and just
I can't
didn't
tell you
get in on
how
that
many
hype,
hours
so.
I played on Battlefront 2.
I tried to play 2. I think maybe I just don't like video games. We're having this conversation, and
Dan, get out.
yeah, okay.
That's absolutely not true.
We'll
Dan,
see. We'll see you next time we talk about other things. All right. So last on the list, last on my E3 list of stuff is The Order 1886, which is a PS4 exclusive. Anybody know anything about that?
It looks neat. I love the setting. I love the alternate history stuff.
It looks like it's going to be a lot of the same world as what was that?
Dishonored.
Yeah, Dishonored.
Yeah, it looks kind of similar. Not
Yeah.
quite as
It
dystopian
looks
looking.
Dishonored's in the future, though.
Yeah,
I mean, it's the same type of world.
he means just like
Yeah,
the.
it reminded me of Hellgate, but less stupid.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I forgot about Hellgate, man.
I played it once at your house, Dan.
I
and
played
that
it
was
a lot, but then they died.
Did they take the servers offline?
Oh yeah.
It came back under a different publisher.
Oh, did
remember,
it?
as a
I don't
free to play MMO?
Oh, okay. I mean, I really loved the concept of it when it came out. I think it was too soon.
I'm playing a free to play game right now that has automatic grouping. Like
I thought you didn't like games.
He likes games more. Yeah, definite lies. Go ahead.
what?
You said you're a liar.
I just don't want our audience to think you don't like games. I don't know why that's important. I mean,
No, I do. I just like
So-
I find one thing and attach myself to it,
Yeah.
and ignore everything else that happens in the game world. And I don't like a lot of games that a lot of other people like.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's totally fine.
But
Free play.
Am I loud? Is that true?
Yeah,
But
that's totally true.
it follows a model that I'm imagining a lot of the games Vincent was talking about earlier will probably follow, as far as like first person shooters and stuff, where it's just it's not really in an open world. It has some open world environments, but when you go to a place where you have a specific goal, like a dungeon type environment or
Right.
whatever, it just automatically puts you in a group with other people that are doing it, and then you're in a group and then you do it.
They've started perfecting that system a little
Yeah.
bit in games now.
Yeah,
what is that game?
and it actually it's that Marvel
Oh, okay. I was gonna. Yeah.
Oh wait,
Heroes game.
really?
Yeah,
I just saw it.
The
stream.
little top down Diablo 2 style thing.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, you know we have a romantics guild, right?
No,
With tons of people, and Rushlock plays it
No,
on
'cause-
stream
'cause I've-
all day, every day.
I've talked to these guys and asked them about it, and they're like, "No, I'm not really interested in that game.
Yeah,
That
I don't
game's so
play it.
stupid."
I'm not.
I don't play it, but Rush plays it along with tons of romantics viewers.
There's a hump. You play through the story, and the story is pretty fun to play through, just because you get to experience all these other, all these like Marvel superheroes environments, and you get like I've got 2 or 3 different heroes as drops, which is really exciting because you get new characters.
Right.
There's like 40 different characters.
That's the only way to get them unless you spend an exorbitant amount of money on them.
Right, but I mean, I already got some cool dudes, and you never know.
Let me ask you a question. Do you know who I want to say the main editor for Marvel Comics is, or
It's me.
The EIC is of Marvel Comics.
I think so, yeah.
It's Jimmy Palmiotti.
Okay, not him. Somebody else up there.
Wait, is it Joe Quesada or Jimmy Palmiotti? It was one of the dynamic duo.
I can't remember the guy's name. I don't think it was one of them, and I don't know if editor is the right term.
I don't
But
think it's Casada.
he's a boss man up in there. Him and the developer for that game came into Rushlock's channel and were commenting on.
Is it the writer of Powers?
Yeah.
Who does Powers and
awesome.
all the X-Men stuff right now?
Oh, that's Brian Michael Bendis.
Was it Bendis?
No.
Brian Michael Bendis is like their head writer.
This guy has
and
a foreign sounding name,
He did write the story.
but we looked it up, and
It's probably
it was
Jimmy Palmiotti.
It was really
That's
the guy.
badass.
So the guy
I
from
don't know.
from the
You
game,
tell us, listeners.
the developer from the game, Rush can tell you. The developer from the game came into the chat and was talking.
Who's also the lead developer of Diablo and Diablo 2.
Yes. And then he said, I'm gonna contact the guys over at Marvel Comics real quick, and he did. And then that guy came in, and they looked it up, and it was all legit. I mean, the guy's username on Twitch was like Marvel something or other with no numbers.
That is pretty awesome. Yeah, this game is a heavily updated, very modern, very like 2.0 all online
Yeah.
Diablo 2. It's Diablo 2. but
Rush
with
loves
superheroes.
it. He's a huge old school comic book fan. And
It's fun. There are kinks, but it seems like they're really actively working to work them out.
Yeah.
And right now there's a hump because the way that it works is actually really cool. The level cap is 60. And you play and you reach the end of the story at about 30. But instead of doing like a Diablo game and starting the story over, that's when you get to end game content where it works like MMO content. So you have dailies, there's like dungeons, there's crazy raid sessions that are like you
Yeah.
just log in. You were there with 15 other people for 15 minutes, just doing insane amounts of killing.
Right.
And based on your performance, if you're doing well, the game makes it harder. And if you're doing poorly, the game slows it down and makes it easier. So if you're in there with a good group, they're just throwing gobs of huge, horrible, pumped up enemies at you. And if you're not, then you're killing lots and lots and lots of like punks with chains.
Damn, those punks with chains.
It's fun no matter what. Like you don't really notice.
Yeah, I've watched Rush play it a good bit. So yeah. All right, so we're gonna move on to the next segment.
Wait, there's like 4 mechanics I'm really excited about.
we're gonna move on.
No, but
Wait,
I'll
shoot
end
him
with a
down.
segue to it. Can I do that? One of them's gonna
Real
segue
fast.
right into it. Are we doing like what we're gonna do? Like
Yes.
Okay, then what?
What are they?
Okay, it's gonna be Saints Row 4, South Park: Stick of Truth, how many? Okay, Batman: Arkham Origins, Wonderful 101.
You more than 4. You ruined it.
He's not having enough fingers left.
No, what? I thought you had like 4 more left after that.
He's using that one for a gun.
This is good.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'll end with Dead Rising 3. Okay. No,
Okay.
Dead Rising
Killed
3.
my hand.
Yeah, so Dead Rising 3 is a zombie game, which
Yeah.
leads us into our next
See,
segment.
I had a plan.
Box office hype, where we're going to talk about something that I'm not hyped for at all, World War Z.
Are you not?
I'm not really hyped for the movie, no. So Vincent's been reading the book there.
I started a couple days ago.
Let me give a little rundown of the movie, and then we'll start talking about that a little
Just
bit.
finger me.
I did. So World War Z is written by Max Brooks, also wrote Zombie Survival Guide. It's directed by Mark Forster. I don't know who that is. It's basically starring Brad Pitt. I don't know the other actors in it very well.
Does it matter? Does anybody
His
else?
wife in it's the lead from The Killing, the AMC television show, which is actually kind of awesome.
Oh, is it?
Can't think of
Yeah,
the name.
so this is the movie we talked about in another podcast about the terrible CGI of the piling up zombies. And that has really turned me off from the movie. I'll still watch it because I love sci-fi.
I've heard
It's
the
got
movie
Brad
wasn't
Pitt in
bad.
it. It's got Brad
I've had a
Pitt in
couple
it.
friends.
I mean, it
I
can't
was
be
planning on
terrible.
going last night, but not 2 nights ago, but I was like a 12-hour shift, so I was exhausted, so I didn't go. But I've heard it wasn't a bad movie.
I mean, I haven't ever seen Brad Pitt in an acting role where I thought it was terrible.
Rolling Stone calls it excitingly addictive.
Wait, is that the movie?
Yeah, the movie.
Oh.
Yeah, the movie. We had a discussion about that before the podcast about the 2-hour movie being excitingly addictive.
I mean, yeah. I don't know, if it's, I mean, I've heard it's not anything like the book, just the title. But
Yeah, so
after reading this, I hope they pull like some parts of it and just kind of like integrate it just a little bit,
Yeah.
which I don't know if they will or not. But I know I can understand how this can be made into a movie easily.
right.
If it was a TV show, yeah, or if it was like it's like a small like web series, like the Halo web series, where it's like professionally done and stuff. And
For some reason, I was under the impression that book was written after they made the movie.
No, I worked in books for a long time, and these were getting really, really popular when Legacy Books was open.
I mean, this came out in 2006.
I don't know why I was thinking that, but for some reason I thought that I knew about his other book, but I thought
would've
that
been
was a
about the
movie
time.
book.
I thought Zombie
2008, I
Survival
think, is
Guide
when
was
I
like a
became aware of them.
comedic.
Yeah, it's kind of
Oh, yeah.
it's a
Like,
it's a
I
spoofy
picked this
kind
up,
of
like, 4
thing.
years
I
ago.
have the Zombie
Finally started
Survival
reading
It's very shiny. It's very shiny.
Zombie Survival Fight. Sorry.
Is that amazing? Are you turning to a zombie so we can't talk?
No, I'm
All right.
side talking.
So we're going to talk a little bit about like just zombie stuff in general. This whole like giant zombie fad we've had for 10 years now or something.
I like it. I like
It's
it.
just really it's like it's over the top now. Like everybody's still
I have a
it's
theory
still
on that.
it's still a cash cow. I mean, it's still like people are just cashing in left and right. You can make a terrible zombie anything and people will buy it like crazy. I mean, look at War Z and Daisy. War Z just had to change its name, by the way, which is hilarious.
I mean, the Daisy mod wasn't bad. It wasn't like my thing, so I didn't really play it that much.
I hate it.
Really?
I hate it. Aaron and I tried to play it. What we were looking
Daisy,
for
whatever,
just didn't
'cause that's what
exist.
they
You couldn't
think.
go in any of the
Yeah.
buildings, and like it was just
I can't stand DayZ, but for me, State of Decay is the game I was looking for.
Yeah,
when
I've
I
heard a
played
bunch
it.
of stuff about State of
State of
Decay.
Decay is ridiculous.
I
Aaron-
want to pick it up.
I don't
Aaron
know
came
what
over and
any of
played
you are
it for,
talking
like-
about.
Aaron came over and played it for like 6 hours one day. It's
Really?
like it's the game that zombie games should be. It's a survival game that's not necessarily
management.
about the zombies. It's about like taking care of your population and wherever you're holed up, which can be in several different locations. You have like tech trees basically where you get materials and stuff that you scavenge, and you can build up parts of your little campsite / fortress. You can
Yeah.
Wait,
you
is
know-
it technical like that, or is it like a first person,
no,
third
it's
person?
it's
Is
third
it-
person. It's third person.
But you can do all these things.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you have like
There's
all
no
the
pausing.
people. Yeah, there's no pausing. All the people in the
RTS.
town. All the people in the town have their own personalities. They even have like traits that say stuff like trivia whiz or something like that. You know, and They interact, have problems. You have to solve the problems by helping them out with different things, and it's extremely awesome.
It was like what, $20, I guess.
Huh?
What was that? 20?
Yeah,
It says 15.
I think it's 15. I can't remember though.
I knew it wasn't full resale.
What you gonna say, Dan?
Oh, just that I'm really glad that we're having this segment because I just realized because of this conversation that I was talking to somebody on Facebook and it was like 1:30 in the morning and I was drunk and I'm 98% sure that they gave me a key to play the Walking Dead game.
Telltale.
Oh,
Wait.
that game's awesome.
The Telltale Walking
Yeah,
Dead game.
and
That's amazing.
I forgot all about it.
They
So I'm going to go home and do that. Bye.
on E3 they ported it to the DS, I think, or not the DS, the Vita. But yeah, it's so.
That's a really good game. You know what Heavy Rain is? The PS3 game. It's the same
It's like the Back to the Future adventure game.
kind of. It's the
It
same
was-
style. It's all like
without the
well, back to it's same company as Back to
yeah,
Telltale.
Telltale.
Now, that game is really boring.
Actually, tons of people actually really love that game, but it's an adventure game.
Walking Dead's.
I do want to try
it's not
the
boring.
Walking Dead one. It seems cool.
Yeah, Walking
no,
Dead's
I'm
not
sure
like
it's
that.
not.
Walking Dead it was one of my favorite things I played last year. Like I played through all 5 episodes on Twitch.
I still haven't gone through all the
That's awesome.
episodes.
I remember watching a little bit of that, but I only watched maybe 20 minutes just because I couldn't watch anymore because I wanted to play it myself.
Right, it's extremely good. So,
Yeah. I was weeping.
so I just finished on stream this last week, The Last of Us.
If you say anything about it,
I'm not
about
going to
to
give you
kill
any
you.
spoilers, but what I will say is, it was an experience akin to playing BioShock Infinite for me.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
So I don't think that it's as good as BioShock Infinite, in my opinion, because BioShock Infinite, I don't know, it's a little more. I don't know how to say it. They're very even for me, but BioShock Infinite has a slight edge because the story was very complex in BioShock Infinite.
Yeah.
At the end, and BioShock Infinite was like fantasy pretty, whereas Last of Us is real life pretty
Sort of
kind of.
gritty.
Yeah. And so the thing that I do prefer about Last of Us is finally they're starting to make these action games, these run through and shoot things and actually do things games have adult storylines to some of them. I think gamers
Well, like
are old
complex
enough now.
storylines?
Boobs.
Just like boobs and violence.
Stories that actually have like a plot that you can really get into instead of it being just like 10 cliches they add together and then at the end there's an
Right.
expected ending. We're starting to get some games where I don't know what's going to happen at the end.
Yeah, well, that's just
Right.
that's just like that
Which people
natural
can be-
evolution of the state of games. You know?
I think it's because gamers are older now. Like the original gamers that are buying all this crap are getting older.
Some people are really resistant to that, though. Like Mass Effect, they had to
Yeah.
change the end because people
yeah.
just didn't like the way it worked out.
Well, that was a little bit different though. That was like you're the one deciding all of these things that happen. That an ending should cater to you and not you or playing through this already.
I
set
hate that.
ending.
I absolutely
That's
hate
why it's a
that
little bit
mentality.
different.
I
of
do.
People saying,
I also hate that mentality.
people saying that every time you make a choice in a game, it should make a real difference.
No, I know what you're saying, but what I'm saying
hate
is
that.
is that
The thing is that I feel
you know
like the
what- you
thing
know what
with
I'm saying.
the thing with Mass Effect is that there are things in the story because there is a story.
Right.
You don't make it up as you go along.
Right.
There are things that happen in the story, and those things do happen.
Right.
Period.
You don't change those things.
You do. You change the journey and how you get there, and you're.
Yeah.
I feel like the choices that you make involve character development, and they can determine the difficulty of some things. Because sometimes you make friends with people that can help you, and sometimes you shoot those people.
Right.
But that's about Shepard,
Right.
and the end of the game or the end of the story is inevitable. I mean,
Yeah.
and I feel like that's okay.
The complaint that people are always having these days are especially about like open world games like Fallout and things like that, where they're like, well, it's all a bunch of like fake decisions that you make because they don't alter the ending. And I'm like, so it's a story. I want somebody to write a really good story for me to play through. This is another form of media that somebody else made. And if they write a story and it's a good story, I can play through that story and my decisions don't have to change the entire story.
Right. And unless you get some kind of map mod where you get to script
Yeah.
everything yourself, they have to write some kind of
Right.
ending for these
There's
games.
got to be something or it won't be cohesive at
And
all.
the chances are it will not be exactly what you imagined. If
Right.
it is exactly what you imagined, it's boring.
yeah. So
Plus, it's kind of. I mean, it's like life. You can make decisions that affect the story up until a certain point.
you're still going to die.
and you're still gonna die.
or get eaten by a zombie and not and something
And
will happen.
die and undie. So Last of Us, very gritty. Don't let your kids play this game. I'm serious. It has a mature rating for a reason.
Not let little Tim play the game.
The first 30 minutes of the game, I wanted to cry, but I was on stream and I didn't. But I'm telling you, like the first 30 minutes of that game will hit you like a truck, and then the rest of the game is just like this stressed out journey through. That's not a spoiler. This like just like this stressed out.
It's ruined for me, but
No, it's not. It's just stressed out journey, like all through the entire game, where crazy stuff just happens. You don't have control over it. You just have to deal with it.
I get paid the 27th.
Hey, I have it. You can borrow it, dude.
Well, you have it on PS3 though. I don't have a PS3.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Besides,
Too bad.
I'm already borrowing it.
Oh, yeah, you need to take it with you so you can finish it, dude.
There's the errand.
Yeah. So yeah, that game is.
Sorry.
I'd say so far since the summer stuff. As of right now, it's my favorite game. We'll see if anything comes out the rest of the year that can beat it for me, but it's extremely good. I think since BioShock Infinite, it's the first game I played where the next day I couldn't really play anything and enjoy it.
2013's been a good year for gaming.
You just need to give
for
Scrolls a bit more of a chance.
Well, Scrolls doesn't do the thing for me that a game like that does.
Scrolls.
I mean,
it doesn't fulfill your desires.
Squirrels?
You need a woman to do.
I need a little child to escort around
Squirrels.
to fulfill those desires. All right, so let's talk about a couple of zombie movies. What's your favorite zombie movie, Dan?
28 Days Later.
Me too. I think that's my favorite as well.
It's
What about you,
I feel
Vincent?
like Shaun of the Dead.
Shaun of the Dead, Aaron.
Yeah.
Dawn of the Dead, the original.
The original
The
Dawn of the
Romero.
Dead. I've got a few written down here. Zombieland, I thought was really good. I Am Legend.
I
Okay,
just never saw I Am Legend.
I Am Legend. The Will Smith I Am Legend is not great.
Oh, well, good thing.
But I like it because it's still sci-fi and it's still I Am Legend. But what I saw first was the Omega Man with Charlton Heston. The Omega Man is based on the same story written by Richard Matheson. Is it Richard Matheson? Yeah, Richard Matheson. And then there was an even earlier version called The Last Man on Earth with Vincent Price in it. It's black and white, and it is borderline a silent film with no talking of any kind, because the Last Man on Earth Vincent Price film is like from the freaking, I don't know, like the 30s or 40s, man. It's old, super old.
they didn't discover sound back then.
Discover
They-
sound. Man, that's old.
no,
I mean, people didn't even start talking until like the 50s or 60s. and stuff. and then that's when like, or it was like and then they just World War I was caused by actions. World War II was caused by words, and so it was
the first baby
Wow.
discovered sound, Vincent. The first baby.
Wow.
The very first baby came out and went wham, and then was like,
People were like, "What?"
I was gonna.
But where did all those people come from?
and how did they go? What?
there weren't any. There was just first baby.
It's just baby laying there.
I was gonna say, imagine just a bunch of like cavemen sitting around in silence eating food, and all of a sudden one guy goes hiccups, and everybody looks at him, mind's blown, and all of a sudden it's just a bunch of screaming and hollering.
Which brings us, as all things do, back to 2001: A Space Odyssey.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Man, that dang monument, man. That obelisk.
Join me, guys.
No. So yeah, I Am Legend, Last Man on Earth, the Omega Man. The Omega Man is super cool. Super cool. Charlton Heston. The movie starts out with
It's
him.
on my list.
Yeah, he starts out with him just cruising through that city in like an old sports car. He's got his Charlton Heston's, unbuttoned shirt with his hair kind of out. He's like, he's so cool. And he's cruising around. The whole movie's amazing. Now, the only one that is true to the book is the Vincent Price movie. The newest I Am Legend with Will Smith is completely different.
What is the book?
The book was written in 1954. It's called I Am Legend.
Oh, okay.
Wait,
So, what?
you're saying the Vincent
Right. That's,
Vincent Price movie is
Your
true to
timeline-
the book,
your
but it
timeline's
was
wrong.
written in 1954.
No. Yeah, the book was in 1954, so that means the Vincent Price one had to be somewhere around there. I said it's old. I said 30s, 40s. I don't know. It's old. I have no idea what year it came out. I can
Well,
look
they
it up.
definitely had discovered sound by 1954.
Good point. But yeah, no, he talks in it, but it's so true to the book that he's basically alone.
is that the
in
one where he's
entire
like,
movie.
there was time, and his glasses break?
No.
What movie is that?
What? That sounds like a Twilight Zone episode with
Maybe it was.
Meredith Burgess
Yeah, I think
in
it
it,
was.
where he hides in the safe and there's a nuclear fallout.
Yeah.
and
Finally gets time to
he
read his
comes
book.
out,
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
like, "Books," and he sits on his glasses.
Right, yeah, that's
and he's
the
like, "No."
There was
Imagine, if
time,
you will, a man. His vision, it's not so good.
Thank you, Rod Serling. So, yeah. So, I Am Legend. Go watch the old ones. The Omega Man is especially good. Last Man on Earth with Vincent Price is definitely worth watching once. I have it. It's good. What else did I write down? 28 Days Later. I didn't like 28 Weeks Later.
I
didn't see it.
Really.
Isn't Robert Carlyle in that, or am I wrong?
No, he's in it. I think he's the dad of like a kid.
He's the dad of like the two children.
The two children that are in it. I didn't like it because it had too many people in it.
This is not zombie related, and I'm sorry. We'll get right back to the zombies, but I have a question. Have you guys seen The Beach?
Yes.
Yeah, the Leonardo DiCaprio film.
Yeah. Did you enjoy it? Because
I like some aspects of
I
it.
hate it, but I watch it every time I see it.
I love you watch it every time you see it.
It's on, I watch it.
Okay.
Aaron has discovered Sight.
Because all right. Okay. We're going to have to cut about 20 minutes of that laugh.
Happy Cheeks looks like he should rename himself Painful Cheeks. That looks like it hurts.
Purple cheeks.
After a while, it does.
It's all that E3 stuff, man. It's getting to him. It's just wearing his face out. So what about The Beach?
I really like Danny Boyle, and I really like Robert Carlyle. And I don't like Butter. But
Oh, poor Butters.
But I've started to watch that movie several times, and I don't want to. But I feel like I should get through it.
Doesn't it have Tilda Swinton in it?
People hate that movie.
She's a bitch in that movie.
Everybody hates that movie. Thanks for ruining.
She's a beach.
Thanks for ruining it for me.
Everybody's a bitch or a dick.
Yeah, everybody in that movie's bad.
But it's just like the plot is the guy likes thrills.
Sounds like Far Cry 3.
It is
the story,
basically right. Far Cry 3 ripped off The Beach.
Right. And Far Cry 3 was amazing.
So good.
So fun. I won't
So
say it
good.
has the best story ever, but it was still fun. Entertaining.
I like the storyline.
So basically, I feel really obligated to see this movie, but at the same time, it's just not
do it.
happening for me.
Everybody should watch it at least once. It's got sharks in it.
If it's got sharks.
But are they smart sharks? Like in that, like Deep Blue Sea?
Deep Blue Sea's awesome.
Deep Blue Sea is so amazing. I was really excited about the Steven Seagal executive decision moment that happens in Deep Blue Sea, where Samuel L. Jackson is making the rallying speech, and all of a sudden this smart shark just like comes through the aquarium wall and snatches him.
Yeah,
and
awesome.
Wait, is that the part where it's like they're all around it and it's right in the middle of a group of people and it just grabs them?
And he's like, "We are gonna beat this MFer if we all get together and yoink." And
Man,
you said
I completely forgot about that movie.
And you said Jaws was scary.
Weren't they like submerged inside the facility with the sharks swimming around in the facility?
Yeah,
with them?
they were in like an observation inside of an aquarium.
The sharks start tactically taking out parts of it.
Man, that
until it
movie.
flooded.
I completely forgot about that
Smart
movie.
sharks.
I'm going to have to go back and watch that again.
So much better than Stealth.
Yeah. I'm pretty much anything probably better than Stealth.
Yeah, I'm gonna tie back into zombies. So, and there's a part in the book.
Zombie sharks.
No, there's part in the book where
Land
they
sharks.
were, everyone's turning to zombies and stuff, and they and people are fleeing from the shores and everything on boats, and so there's just like this massive zombies all going into the water, and it was like paints this picture of like a bunch of boats leaving, and people like trying to like run to the boats and like or like swimming and stuff, and they just getting like snatched down the water from like all these hands that are like creeping up and stuff, and it just
that's creepy.
that was like one of the most terrifying parts.
I don't
of the book.
like I don't like big bodies of water like that
yeah,
anyway.
like open water, and then just like seeing
Ooh.
people just like get sucked under. And just,
Yeah. So, 28 Days Later was awesome. I love the opening of that movie. I could watch the first 20 minutes of that movie.
that was like
over
the
and
first
over
movie I was
again.
actually like
28 minutes.
First 28-ish.
That was the first movie I was actually like terrified of, like zombies happening.
Yeah, those. I mean, was that the
Yeah.
first? Was that
Yeah,
the
yeah.
first mainstream film that had rage zombies in it?
Well, that was the first one. I think that was the first one where they could actually like run.
Yeah, it was the first fast zombies that I remember seeing.
I don't remember seeing it before that, but zombies wasn't as big of a thing then as it was now, so
True.
I wasn't aware of as much of them. But
When I first saw it, I was slightly bummed because I had just finished. I had watched Day of the Dead for the first time after having seen Night and Dawn many times, and so I was really pumped about having just seen Day. And then 28 Days Later came out, and they borrowed so much from Day of the Dead that I was just kind of, bummed out.
See, I don't know. I don't feel like they borrowed anything more than every other movie about zombies ever from Day of the Dead.
No, I'm saying specifically like the military installation with the jackass military guys that they end up having to like combat. Isn't there even a zombie that they capture and kind of torture?
Yeah,
Which is straight from Day.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
well, maybe it was an homage.
Yeah, that's. I mean, I'm
Right.
fairly certain that's what it was.
I like that word.
But at the time, I was just bummed. So
Well,
and that zombie is in a whole bunch of his movies too.
Really?
The guy they have out on a leash.
yeah.
Yeah.
That 28 Days Later. In fact, I'll probably watch it tonight.
Yeah. I was just
yeah,
gonna say,
haven't
Christopher
seen it in a
Eccleston was
while.
the bad guy.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
what I like so much about like because I watched 28 weeks ago, a few days ago. And I remember they doing a lot in 20 Days Later, but like the first person running stuff, you know?
Oh yeah.
That was so
That
cool
movie.
shots.
The movie's terrifying. The part in the movie where they're in the tunnel in the first movie. Where they're in
Yeah,
that tunnel. Oh my gosh. I mean, I don't get scared in films typically. And
really-
that was freaky.
Yeah.
I really like that actor. I don't know his name, but that plays the dad.
Oh,
Oh yeah. Can't think of his name.
Irish
either.
guy?
yeah. He was in
Full
he's in-
Monty.
Yeah.
shoot.
He's in all kinds of stuff.
He's in the Guard in Bruges.
Yeah. That's a really good movie too.
Which one?
In Bruges.
Oh yeah, and his other movie, Seven Psychopaths, one of my favorite movies.
In Bruges Zombies.
This is good. This is good. It's not
Part 2.
something. It's something Boyle.
Zambruge.
Is it something Boyle?
Danny Boyle?
Oh, Boyle?
I'm looking at it. Or if you got it,
I don't know.
What is
No.
it? Oh, yeah, 28 Days Later. I'll look it up.
he was
So,
Do it.
Mad Eye Moody.
Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, amazing.
Shaun of the Dead.
Obviously,
Loved
awesome.
it.
There's not really a whole hell of a lot to say. Other than that it was awesome.
I
Winchester.
had watched it a long time ago, and I was like, it was a pretty good movie. Then I rewatched it. When I texted you when I rewatched it like a couple weeks ago, whatever, and I was just like, dang, I didn't realize how good it was.
It's almost
Like, it was, like,
a
lost on
movie
me.
for everybody.
Yeah.
I showed it to my parents, and then occasionally was just like, "Okay, Mom, go to the kitchen," because there's a lot of like entrails and stuff in that movie.
Yeah.
But
It's got violence, it's got action, it's got humor.
Sorry.
I don't know what you said.
Never mind.
Have you figured out his name yet? Have you found his name?
No.
There's a
I'm looking.
trio of. It's not really a trio, but or trilogy, but it's a trio of movies.
Gleason.
Oh
Sorry.
yeah.
Yeah, Brendan
Gleeson.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good job.
he's
Nice.
awesome.
Yeah. There's a trio of movies made by the director of Fulci. I
yeah.
can't remember
Fulci.
his first name, but it goes It's his Gates of Hell trilogy that I'm kind of interested in seeing. But apparently, this guy's really famous for doing ultra realistic gore. Like he was a medical student, and so in his movies, he prides himself on doing like really very
Like
realistic.
convincing.
Yeah, and that. I don't know. I don't know if I can stomach it. He does a lot of eye gouges.
So Brendan Gleeson, wasn't he also in Gangs of New York?
Yeah.
He was the badass guy at the club.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I liked him in that a lot too.
You're
love
saying
it.
that's the guy from In Bruges that's also the dad, or
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
with
yeah.
Colin Farrell.
yeah.
Yeah.
So the last, I got a couple other things on here. Dawn of the Dead, Night of the Living Dead.
What-
Night of the Living Dead is almost my favorite.
Yeah,
What do y'all think? What about The Walking Dead?
the TV show. I still watch it because I will watch anything that's post-apocalyptic / sci-fi / fantasy.
Right.
It's profoundly boring. I can't do it.
It's getting almost to the point where I can't watch a whole episode. In fact, like we were recording them on cable, and me and my wife were watching the last season, and it got to the point where like every time she was like, "You want to watch the Walking Dead episode we got recorded?" and I'd be like, not really. Okay, let's watch it.
Every episode, somebody's a dick, and then everybody else is like, "Why would you do that for 20 minutes? I don't
Yeah.
need that."
Have you seen
for
the
20
newest
minutes."
season of it at all?
I saw the first like
Okay.
6 or 7 episodes, and then
So you saw how they turned Carl from being a completely undisciplined, retarded child into this badass who walks around with a handmade suppressor on his Beretta that probably weighs 10 freaking pounds, just one-shotting every zombie he sees in the head now.
no, he still has a crossbow where I am.
Oh my! Well, they turned him into a badass.
Yeah.
He looks like he's 8 years old. He walks around with a full-size Beretta 9mm with a shiny
It's a good gun.
silver cone,
Yeah.
handmade
Does he have-
suppressor thing.
Does he have one incredibly thick wrist?
He should, because he's just like bam, 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 and every zombie
that's
just
not really how that
falls
works.
by the wayside.
He's got to be probably one of my least favorite characters of any show I watch.
And he's
He
all the time. He's like
so
he's like
freaking annoying.
he's like freaking Batman now or something. Like he's brooding all the time. He's always walking around. He's always walking around brooding, and he's like the wisest person in the whole troop of people now. And he just like He's all
He's
about
like
business.
cube
They should do a
moving.
Starbuck and send him on some kind of vision quest.
Yeah, for an arrow.
No, the arrow was cool. After the arrow,
That's called an e-brake, Wes. You just
Yeah. No, it's because I said the wrong thing and nobody knew what to say about it. Yeah, so
the elephant in the room was that this
yeah.
was not.
I made the wrong
arrow
reference.
of Apollo.
Yeah, I made the wrong reference. Yeah, so that's all the zombie flicks that I have to talk about. Anybody else want to say anything about zombies?
I watched Warm Bodies a couple nights or 2 nights ago.
How was that?
I
It had the
don't-
beast in it.
I don't think I can.
It was cute.
I don't think I can watch that.
it was-
I watched the first 5 minutes that they released online. I thought it was kind of
I
entertaining.
I watched it while I was browsing Reddit, and I was like,
Yeah.
It was fine.
I really
interesting.
want to see I think something that we're missing right now that needs to come back. And I'm like totally into just
Mummies.
Vampires.
no, I hate vampire
I'm just
stuff.
kidding.
The only vampire stuff I like is like really old school vampire stuff like Bram Stoker's or something. I don't like any new style vampire stuff really.
Sorry, I was going to interrupt you. Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say I'm just like, and it may be because of this GURPS thing that we're planning, but I've been watching tons of sci-fi stuff. I don't have any sci-fi left to watch. Period.
Well,
there's none.
There's a ton of stuff out
Have
there.
you guys
just,
watched-
No, there's not.
Have you guys
I've
watched
it all.
Defiance?
well,
Yes.
Did you watch Defiance?
there's still a
Is
ton
it
of
good?
stuff. You just
It's
watch a
not
ton of
very good.
stuff.
It's very cliche.
Is it better than Caprica?
I actually liked Caprica better.
It looks like Firefly on the ground.
It's very cheesy, and the dialogue is.
You can
the
tell
s-
that from the trailers.
The storylines and stuff is. It's got a ton of potential. Maybe season 2 will be great. I don't know. Maybe they've got growing pains to go through. It's not unentertaining. Like you can watch it, but
I don't know if I can say this on the air because it's kind of offensive, but I've been watching Star Trek Voyager,
yeah. And
and it's painful.
I've never watched it because
But
of what I've heard about it.
I'm having a hard time not watching it.
I can't stand. That's Janeway, right?
Yeah, Kate Mulgrew is the
I
most
can't stand
annoying.
her.
She's like a cartoon gerbil.
Yeah, I cannot stand her, and that's the reason I can't watch Voyager.
I don't get what that means. You texted me that, and I
She talks like this, and she makes these little gestures with her hands that are like little rodent gestures.
Somebody made a YouTube video where she's conducting a symphony, like with her little rodent hand.
She's discovered her hands.
She discovered
she-
feel.
All right, okay.
We got 2 left.
Hold on, something stinks in here. There's something on the bottom of my.
Oh, there it is.
Oh man!
Oh, it's the joke.
Well,
It's the joke on the bottom of our shoes.
Yep.
Wow, that's terrible. So,
Such
Yeah,
potential.
but it's rough, but it's kind of fun. I don't know. It's a cathartic.
I'll
show
probably
for me.
watch it eventually just to watch them all.
Did
but
you? What are the other ones? Have you seen all the other ones?
I haven't finished Deep Space Nine before, but I'm watching it now.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's the first few episodes I didn't really like. It takes some time to get into it.
I thought the pilot was good, and then the rest of that season is good but slow.
Yeah, it's really slow.
But then it gets awesome. Especially like once Worf shows up, it's basically over.
Yeah.
The DS9 wins.
Yeah, so and I've seen all of Next Generation many times and original Star Trek.
Enterprise has a really bad first season.
Enterprise, I watched it all.
Did you like the last 2 seasons?
I like Enterprise.
Yeah, me too.
I liked all of it, even the first season.
The first season
It's
was rough.
slow. It's slow and kind of like I don't know. It's modern and pretty enough to me that I could still watch it and be entertained by it.
Did you like the Seven Samurai episode?
Yes, definitely.
Didn't you see a good Japanese movie recently?
13 Samurai. We've talked
Or
about that.
13 Assassins?
13 is, yeah, 13 Assassins. No, not, was it 13? Yeah, 13 Assassins. And I watched Battle Royale last week.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, finally finished that.
Didn't like it.
You didn't like Battle Royale? Oh, I liked it.
I like
Super
it a lot.
corny.
Is there a movie where there's zombies
In
in
space. Sorry. I was reading your mind, Vincent.
Come on, Vincent. Power through.
No, I mean that's what I was going to be like. Zombies in space.
I feel bad now. I feel
You ruined Vincent's life.
like I've injured him
Really?
physically.
The next 5 minutes.
I'm sorry,
I'm really
Vincent.
looking forward to it.
He's been planning. He was planning that the whole time I was talking. I saw him over
the
there getting
entire
ready.
time.
I didn't know it was going to be
I was
like a
gonna have
big
my
production.
arms up. We're gonna be like space.
I didn't know it was
Wait,
going to be a big
wait.
production.
You knew that Vincent was going to say something,
Yeah.
and you didn't know it was going to be a big production.
No, I wasn't thinking straight.
Yeah, obviously. God.
I just saw him sitting there. He was doing this for like 30 seconds.
Speaking of big productions, I'm really liking this shirt.
Like this. And my roommate, it's his brother's. He didn't like it. His brother gave it to him. He didn't want it, so he gave it to me, and somehow it fit. It's Adam. Adam's like.
I'm envious. It's awesome.
Real,
It is nice.
real skinny.
Yeah.
All the little things on it look like little floating like
I think they're
cotton
they're
balls or
electric.
cotton
I like 'em.
seeds or something.
No, it's
Yeah.
like, but then like someone like tried to scratch them all out with a green pen.
That's it.
No,
So
it's like new wavy, but it still works.
just to finish off what I was gonna say is there's not enough like really out there sci-fi coming up. Like we're talking like space opera-y, like Star Wars-y kind of stuff right now.
Unless there was zombies in space.
There's a new Star Wars trilogy. coming
Everything's
Is
like
there zombies in space? The question wasn't answered.
I don't think so. Well, yeah, there is actually.
The
There
Nazi
is.
one.
Yeah, there's a Nazi one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
up. Actually, there's Nazis from space and there's Nazi zombies. I don't remember if there's a third one.
There's Nazi zombies
from
Dead
space.
Snow.
Dead Snow. Yeah.
Which I am about 10 minutes into.
yeah.
I was gonna watch it, but I got distracted.
Don't ruin it for me.
Don't ruin the first 10 minutes for me.
Yeah. So we need to wrap it up here. We're over as usual. So anything for next week you guys want to talk about?
Girl, I don't know.
Girl, we'll come up with something during the week.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of summer movies coming out.
Yeah. We'll be doing box office hype every week, so we'll have a movie to start us talking about some stuff every week. What else? Anything else?
Scrolls. But
Scrolls. So next week we'll have an entire episode about the game Scrolls.
Elder Scrolls. We're just gonna talk about Oblivion all day.
The Infinite Oblivion Gates.
God, they're so.
We're gonna talk about that nonstop. And then I went over here and it was this Oblivion Gate, and I closed it. And I went over here and it was Oblivion Gate. I closed it.
That sounds a lot like the plot of Rifts.
Yes. All right, so let's wrap it up. Let's say bye to everybody. So
what do y'all
Vincent has a big
Say it,
production he'd
Vincent.
like to
No,
make.
well,
Do
no.
it.
My hope that's it's like I've just lost all testosterone went after that kicking the balls over there. But why don't they just tell us what to talk about? What? Because unless
Yeah.
we figure something out by next week.
as every single week is, if you guys have a suggestion or
Yeah.
a comment, just leave it and
yeah,
we
just,
will
just say,
we'll
hey
go
guys,
over it.
Hey, you guys, just talk. Hey, you guys, talk about this. Yeah, we'll do it.
Maybe we will.
Maybe we won't,
We'll do it.
but we might.
We'll think about it.
If it's good, yeah.
So we're the Romantics, and we'll see you guys next Wednesday. Goodbye.
Bye.